Oh, Wendy Bell Radio is live. I wore my Joe Biden China shirt today.
Oh, you did? I like it.
Yeah.
I like that.
I just wanted to flash everybody.
So I know Thursday is closer to the weekend than Tuesday, but I dislike Thursday the most, I think. Why? Why is that?
I like it if I have something to look forward to on Friday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't
and
know
I don't
what
have
it
anything
is.
to look forward to on Friday.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Anybody out there, do you have a least favorite day? And not because it's the first day of the week. I don't know. What is it about Thursday? Today was a balls to the wall Thursday. Poor Brock last night. I think Brock worked from the moment he got home. And then you did Sean's show for a little while because he had Rich on doing his pole crunching and all that stuff, which is so amazing.
Yeah, and when you share screens, you kind of need a producer. You need
an extra hand. Yeah. So you were out of pocket for like an hour and a half yesterday, and then you hopped right back into it. And literally, I had other things going on, so I started late last night, early this morning. Oh my gosh. And I don't even think we used everything that you had sent.
No, we didn't.
I mean, it was crazy.
By the way, go to my Facebook page. I consider Rich Barris now part of the Wendy Bell family.
I agree.
So on my Facebook page, if you follow me, vote for his puppy to win the March Madness poll.
His puppy?
He just got a new puppy, Winston.
Oh, what a great name.
So you have to vote multiple times for other dogs to get to him, but make sure you go vote for him.
Hey, Liberty Bell 57, you know what day it is.
It's not Hump Day.
You know what day it is.
Oh, it's Newsmax.
Yes, it's Newsmax Day.
Newsmax.
Hence looks a little different, but you guys are used to it.
Calling Brock Spike.
I
don't know.
Because your hair is spiky in the front?
Oh, well, there's only so much I can do with it.
I'm a little sweaty. I know. It's really not the visual I wanted to drop on you right now.
Do you have a glam problem too?
No, I just did 102 push-ups.
Oh, is that what you were fishing? Oh, I didn't see the rail.
I think maybe, Brock, you should spend a moment of time telling a bit of a story about the genesis and where we've come.
You said, I just want to learn. I just want to be able to do 10 push-ups.
Right.
And I says, you could do 10 push-ups. I watch you do pull-ups at the gym. Listen, I couldn't even, I'd hang.
There's a giant elastic thing
it doesn't matter.
Around my leg connected to the top. It's like a rubber band.
Listen, I don't call them pull-ups. I call them hang as long as you can. Because that's exactly what I would be doing, is just hanging there. She'd be like, come on. I'd be like, Biatch, I'm just happy hanging here. No, you said 10.
Yeah. So steadily.
And then you got to 20. Then 40. And then you did 50, and you used some expletives on me.
Yeah. Yep.
And I said, quit counting. I'll count for you. And then you went from 50 to 70, 70 to 90, 90 to 100. And then the next day you did 101, full of swear words.
No,
don't let her. Oh yeah,
that's bull crap.
Yeah,
that is bull crap.
You're a bastard.
There's no time for me to do that because I'm gasping. There's no throwing down.
And then today you did 102. Your whole problem is you try to count.
Hello, Michigan. What's up, Mojo's 58? I just wanted you guys to know that I'm.
Darius says you're his radio queen.
Oh.
Darius might be overstepping because Salty's going to get.
Are there a lot of options out there, though? I don't know. Maybe. Don't you think it's interesting how people are now starting to do videos of them on radio? I was like, where'd you guys get that awesome idea? It's so 2019.
Yes, 2019.
Because that's when we started. Anyway, this Tony Bobolinsky thing, you guys watch it? I got a shark going on right
It
here.
makes you want to just pull your. You put it perfectly this morning when you said you can tell he's tired of answering this question.
Yeah. He's like,
You-
when are you assholes going to do something?
Yeah, right. Stop talking
Stop
about
talking about it. But this is unfortunately the methodical on the record.
But they
It's-
make you get it on the record because the Democrats are going to lie about it. I mean, they lie with it on the record. You got to put it out there that, hey, it's still out there. Did you just sigh?
I'm very fussy. I'm angry. And I feel like I'm on the brink of tears, which is an awful feeling. I hate that feeling. Because it's usually an ugly cry. Sorry.
4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hello, America, and beyond the fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. As always, a thrill to be with you. So much to talk about in our world of common sense conservative values. If that's how you look through the world's lenses, if that's how you feel about what's going on out there, you have found the right spot. And you're welcome here every single day. Bring a friend, bring a family member. Come on back day after day. Welcome home to all of you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Not so sure about that one nation, that indivisible thing. Because I look at what's going on out there, and I do not see a path for union, a path for a merger, some kind of a way we can get back from this national divorce, because I think there are just some people who you cannot negotiate with. There are people who will not be reformed, who will not change. And life is about change. I don't know if they can. Yesterday, Tony Bobulinski sat before, for hours, a joint House Judiciary, House Oversight, House Ways and Means conversation under oath about what he has testified about probably a dozen times or more. There is a folder, a binder of more than 1,000 pages of Tony Bobulinski's testimony dating back to early, October 2020, before the election. He has told his story. He has blown the whistle. He is tired. And we should be too. Tony Bobulinski was called to testify about his interactions as a business partner with the Biden crime family syndicate. But it wasn't his testimony that got me today. I stumbled upon it. And I watched its 4 minutes and 41 seconds as a gentleman testified from prison former business associate of Hunter Biden's. His name is Jason Galanis. Mr. Galanis sat in a suit and tie, almost gasping on his words as he testified about the 7 years he's already been in prison. 7, maybe 8 years he's already been in prison for crimes he was found guilty of that Hunter Biden was never charged with. And in his 4 minutes and 41 seconds of testimony, which was played before these committees yesterday, Mr. Galanis, who's probably about my age, revealed he had been sexually assaulted in prison by a guard. He had been raped in prison by a guard. And as he revealed that, he had to take a gulp and admit how ashamed he was that he wasn't able to fight off his attacker. He then proceeds to talk about how that guard sexually harassed him for months until he could finally get the prison chaplain to listen to him. And he said to the committee, "I'm guilty of these crimes. I deserve a long prison sentence. I am woefully remorseful. There aren't words to tell you how sorry I am for being a part of the Biden crime family syndicate. Because I sit here and am raped, and I'm doing everything I can to not cry because men aren't supposed to cry, but I want to cry." Hunter Biden decides to bounce from this hearing today and bounce from all culpability. That's not liberty and justice for all. That's not one nation indivisible. That's antithetical to everything we believe. See, I'm not for people on my side, on my team, who wear my colors, getting off when they are criminal and they do criminal things. I don't believe that there should be preferential treatment for the people in my camp. One nation means the same standard for everybody, but it does not exist. And yesterday, in this hearing, watching an absolutely exhausted Tony Bobulinski have his character impugned, his reputation assailed, and to hear out of the mouths of the Democrats on the committees lies, smears, childish behavior I wouldn't expect any of my sons to execute, let alone elected representatives in our United States Congress. There is no question that the biggest story of them all is that Joe Biden is a traitor. Joe Biden traded this country for what he has craved all his life: power, control, money, fame. None of it buys you anything when your soul is empty. Have you ever noticed, if you know wealthy people, how commonly they are unhappy, as though there is an elusive dream that they are trying to capture? And the harder they try, no matter how many zeros end up in their bank account, there is a deficit in their heart. Not all of them, many. Joe Biden sold this country to foreign governments Joe Biden threatened our national security when he stole documents from the SCIFs and then let them be accessible by God knows who. Joe Biden has lied ever since he put his hand on the Bible in January of 1973 and became Delaware's youngest senator. Joe Biden is a national disgrace. Impeachment is too kind for Joe Biden. And yesterday we had to see these ridiculous figments of representation behave as juveniles. And I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed for Tony Bobulinski, who served this country in the Navy, who comes from a military family, who believes that North is North. No matter if you stand by yourself. And you're going to hear these voices on this program today. It is not funny. No one is laughing. Because we are a country in tatters. And it is vital that we take it back. That Jared Moskowitz walked into the hearing wearing a Vladimir Putin mask is just the beginning. Because what happened after that was a disgrace. And you need to know all about it so that you can make the best decisions moving forward for you and the people you love. Buckle up, we're just getting started on the Wendy Bell Radio program. As everything seems to be so upside down and inside out there, I think one of the sponsors who I really enjoy talking about, because it gives us some peace of mind, is Texas Bullion, TexasBullionExchange.com. And it's easy to feel as though you don't have the money, you don't have the ability, it's not in your purview. You'd be surprised. Just a little bit here and there can go a long way to preparing you for a super secure, dependable financial retirement. And our friends at Texas Bullion Exchange can help you with that. If you go to TexasBullion.com, they'll send you an investing guide, a precious metals investing guide. It doesn't just have to be gold, coins, rounds, or bars. They also have palladium, they have platinum, they have silver. Silver is so popular right now. And if you use my name and you make a certified coin purchase, you're going to get 10% off. Beyond that, I think you just would like to talk to somebody who knows a lot more than you do, knows a lot more than I do about investing in precious metals. That's this company. I trust them. I like them. I work with them and I enjoy them. I think you will too. 855-927-5557. 855-927-5557, TexasBullion.com.
It is frustrating watching those hearings. Watching them just talk and not ask questions and not try to find the truth.
There's scripted
the one lady
soliloquies
you're going to hear from later in the show. You got to hear Chantel Brown. I mean, and they're such stooges because they sit there and read. You're just telling me someone handed that to you. You said, listen, you're on this committee. Read this.
It's 5 minutes of grandstanding.
4. Because she
4.
yielded the rest of her time, which just tells you she had nothing to say of her own.
Yeah.
She didn't know what to do after she must have read it a little faster than they wanted her to. We have AOC too. Idiot. I mean, these are the people. I like watching it because it makes me feel smart. Not many people can do that. Almost everyone in Congress does that, though. They make me feel smart.
It's just so
You know what we need.
so gross. You know, it's kind of a tale of juxtaposing stories today. So on the one hand, you're going to hear House Republicans going over testimony, going over details, going over things Joe Biden and Hunter Biden have repeatedly lied about. According to eyewitness testimony, according to all the whistleblowers, right? All these people have similar stories that directly refute what Joe Biden and Hunter Biden are saying. Now, in this country, do you guys believe that the president of the United States should be held to a different standard than everybody else? Because I will tell you, yes. I believe that the minute you become one of those highly esteemed, sworn in representatives, and at the highest level, the president of the United States, you assume a much higher degree of scrutiny that requires you be squeaky clean. And Joe Biden obviously is not. But I will say to you, the minute I had a child, I started changing my life. You tend not to drive as quickly. You tend to make better health decisions. You tend to look toward savings and things of that nature because you have someone you need to set a path for. You need to be an example to. And they're there watching when you don't know they are. Your children hear, they see, they pay attention to how you behave with others in public. They know what your heart is all about. It's part of their fabric to watch you, to try to be like you. And so to see elected people behave in such poor ways is, disappointing doesn't do it. Is there a word? On the flip side of that, as I mentioned, juxtaposition, you have that as a prevailing storyline today, and we'll definitely get to it. But you also have something that is very curious. We're watching more people awaken on the left. More people in curious ways snap out of the trance. Media folks who are beginning to see and beginning to connect the dots that the people in charge of their particular area have indefensible positions that put everybody in danger, that nobody can defend. It's crazy. And we're going to take you to New York City to show you a firsthand example of what no cash bail is all about, what it's doing to the tapestry of a once great city that is now a crap hole. New York is just the tip of the iceberg. Go to Baltimore, go to Pittsburgh, go to Cleveland, go to Oakland, go to San Francisco. It's the same story. So what is that pivotal, seminal moment that snaps somebody out of it. It's not just the media. Black voters. They've been awake for a lot longer than they've been given credit. These people understand American history. They know where slavery comes from, where it originated, and the party that stopped it. They know who wants to keep them down. And they know that they have been brainwashed and that in order to save themselves, they got to snap people out of it. One of the last holdouts to this great awakening, if you will, is women, which I find very interesting. Women who demand to be believed, women who demand our respect, women who expect us to defer to them, to provide extra, but want to be treated, right? Equally, but extra. Why are they the last to wake up? Particularly liberal women. When are you going to stop being used as pawns? When are you going to put your foot down and say, I cannot be used anymore? Because they're the last group to snap out of it. And you're going to hear this from their mouths themselves. Christine Blasey Ford apparently is on a book tour, ladies and gentlemen. A book predicated on an uncorroborated, one could say, falsehood. Or we could just go all the way and say fabrication, lie, fantasy, dreamscape, whatever it is. How can you go out there and write a book about something that you have no corroborating evidence to support? There are no other people who can say, yes, I saw that happen, or even, yeah, I was there. Nothing. But as long as someone on the left who's a woman is taking a swing at somebody on the right, she will be supported. Well, we're going to shatter that. Perhaps that is the glass ceiling today that we will shatter, calling out women for being exactly who they are on the left. A nuisance, a roadblock, an emotional chunk of baggage, and when they get called out on it, indignant. It's not a good look. When we come back from this short break, we're going to dig into an on-air live television awakening as a news host, a television host, realizes she doesn't want to be liberal anymore. Wait for it. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right. I haven't had mine yet today, but I enjoy it very much. So Joe and I, when we were with our son Ryan in Nashville visiting Vanderbilt, fingers crossed, we find out any day now. We found this great restaurant that's not necessarily proximal to my neighborhood here, but it's a chain, and it's called First Watch, if I believe. And it's so good. And they have this wonderful drink. It's got turmeric, beet juice, orange juice, and something else. It's like one of those powerhouse Shazam things where you're like, oh my gosh, that is so delicious, right? So this Cert juice, Get Cert, this is what it says, Ultimate Cert Juice. This is a powder I've been drinking. All right. And it's got the superfoods that these two dudes put it together, and they have had great success. All sorts of people losing ridiculous amounts of weight. That's not really the point. Becoming the best you can be from the inside out. They say this is the jazz to do it. And so you've got people like Who do they say? Conor McGregor, mixed martial artist, says he's been drinking this stuff, Cert Juice. He's on the Cert Juice diet, completely changed his fitness objectives and his lean body mass, all this stuff. Also, you've got, who's this other guy? David Hay. He's a world championship boxer. Credits his amazing shape to drinking this stuff. I'm telling you, it tastes just like that awesome drink at first watch. And it's got all this jazz that we need in it for us. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm drinking this. I'm going to drink it until it's done, and I'm going to get back to you because I exercise quite significantly, and I need to go to the next level as I'm turning 54. Is it going to help me? I'll let you know. If you want to join me in this endeavor, I think it would be awesome. Getcert.com/Wendy. Getcert.com/Wendy. I'm going to give you $20 off. $20 off. Check it out. Check it out and see what you think. Because right now, I think it's delicious. What it does for me, I'll report back to you. They say give it 2 weeks. So I'm like, all right, I'll give you 2 weeks.
For those unaware of who we're going to play next, very, very liberal. And this isn't all of a sudden for her. I told Wendy this story this morning. She went on, Ben Shapiro always does Sunday conversations. And he had her on. Now, she is still liberal in a lot of her thinking, but she said she got a ton of pushback from people on the left for even sitting down with Ben Shapiro.
Just so stupid.
And she pushed back. She's like, why wouldn't I have a conversation with him?
Yeah.
We're editor's pick today.
Are we?
Yeah. And I didn't even put it out there.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Ooh.
I did late. And he's like, you're already there. I'm like, oh.
Wow. Well, welcome if you're new to the program, obviously. I still do. Yes. Caw 471. I do. You'll notice when Field of Greens takes a hiatus, somebody else will pop in. And personally, I think if I can try one of these products and see what it's like, some of you, like Heather from Renfrew, I believe, is doing it with me. Some of you might want to try it with me and go along and we can share our thoughts on it. So do it, don't do it. It's
right.
Totally up to
still
you.
Drink,
I still drink Field of Greens. And I've really, really like Field of Greens. I will say, and knock on wood, Brock, I have not been sick in forever.
Which is good for me too.
Well, why?
I quote, because we're around each other so much. If you're sick, chances are.
We're not commonly in the same room though.
No, but.
Right? Unless I go.
Right. No, but like
give me your
even
face.
even being around you,
yeah.
You know, it's not like we walk down the hall together. It's
right.
not like, you know.
We hold hands and skip.
Yeah.
Chia. Yep. Donald is kicking Bob's ass. All right.
So Donnie boy.
Donnie looks good.
Yeah, but you know what Donnie doesn't have?
An autograph. You're so mental. So where's Bob Ross? Bob Ross and Donald.
Don needs a trim. He's starting to look.
He's looking good. I really did botch Bob on the back.
You did.
Was my
and now you're blaming
try.
Bob.
No, I have a Joe Biden one, but.
I say we just throw that out.
Yeah, we'll put in some hair plugs for that one. I'll just like periodically add some of the
just
paste.
Put a little each, yeah.
That's terrible. Those of you who are follically challenged, I beg your pardon. I come from a history, a lineage of it.
I know. I said that, man, I wish I was bald. And
those are fighting words for people who are losing their hair, I will tell you. Being the
but now it's okay
matriarch of said problem.
And now I get a pedicure with my haircut, so it's kind of nice.
It's an amazing thing. Once you go into the world of having somebody take care of your feet, you can't go back. Telling you.
The trick of making those grow faster is putting a bag over the head.
Yes.
For the greenhouse effect.
Particularly over the weekend. What we should do is just plop it like today and then let it go all weekend long. We'll see, but we have to fill them up, I think. See, everybody needs a diversion. The chia is a diversion for me. So Don is my man.
Another
My
boyfriend.
You can imagine how I feel as a thrice canceled journalist, broadcaster, opinion haver, very public firings in my life. And it's part of the thing. I remember Rush Limbaugh talking about his 7 firings and how each one was
You're not even halfway there.
I know, right? And so each one was a necessary detour for him that helped him find the path that he would be on. Certainly when you're in the mix of it, it's terrible. The first time I got sacked on television for speaking truth about black on black crime in my community after a horrendous murder, 6 people in my neighborhood gunned down. The Young Turks, I don't know if you guys follow these folks online or what have you. They, I believe, if Brock is telling me correctly, they decided to ride me for a little while as one of their whipping girls.
They beat you up pretty bad.
Did they?
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know what? It's so weird because they never got in touch with me to get the real story of what was going on.
They added someone to the panel when they talked about you.
Ooh, really? So we had three-way.
There were 3 of them going
Three-way hate.
Yes.
Anyway, so I'm used to it. It is what it is. If I cared what people thought, I would have caved a long time ago. I am strengthened by mission and love of country and what I believe is correct and how I feel in my heart about my family. It's not different than how you feel. I'm just blessed to have a platform in order to express that. So as I'm watching this morning and I'm like, holy smokes. So in New York, apparently, Kathy Hochul, with all of her wand-waving, liberal hackmore decision-making, New York has cashless bail. So as those illegals who beat the snot out of the 2 cops in Manhattan got bounced hours after they got picked up for it, right? And then the guy comes out giving everybody the bird. It is not just people who assault others who can get out cashless bail. How about people accused of murder? How about people accused of murder and dismembering their victims? I know it's not appetizing, I beg your pardon, but we have to live in Realville here. How about murder, dismemberment, and then disposal of said body parts scattered across the several boroughs? It's inconceivable, but it has happened. And this young woman, one of the Young Turks, what's her name? Anna something or others? I don't even care. She's going to come on and she's going to tell you this story because her face is melting off. Her name is Anna Kasparian, and she details the story of the grisly dismemberment case in New York in which the 4 suspects who chopped up 2 people didn't have to pay bail or go to jail for the crimes. And as she's talking about this, it clicks with her. What are we doing? This is crazy. Now, while I'm grateful that she has awakened, you can imagine my response. Where you been, girl? Where you been? Audio soundbite number 1, and she talks about hearing the case from The View, of all places, and then her decision to actually do a little research, which she never actually did in my case. Go.
Dismembering a corpse and hiding a corpse after dismembering it, not bail eligible, not a serious crime. I'm not even kidding, guys. Like when Joy Behar outlined that case, I was like, she's crazy. This isn't a thing. This isn't real. This isn't real. So I looked it up. It's real, guys. It's real. Listen, if being on the left means supporting this, then I'm not on the left, and I'm okay with that. So let me give you the details of the case.
It doesn't mean that.
Okay, I don't know. Let me give you the details.
On the left. We're all on the left. We don't want people dismembering folks getting released. Only a couple of lunatic.
Some do.
I know. What I was in the middle of saying is only a couple of lunatic activists are like, yeah, we're pro dismemberment guys being let go. Okay, whatever.
These poor
you don't represent the left at all.
Dismembered bodies. It's so unfair to put them in prison.
Little back and forth there, a little give and go. That iron liberal wall has kind of crumbled a little bit because in Anna Kasparian's mind now, there is a limit that has been passed. There is a bridge too far. See, for the majority of you out there listening, especially those of you who are conservative, as I am, my threshold for suck is much lower than this young lady's. She's going to then detail what exactly happened. Now, I beg your pardon for the vile nature of these details, but this is what is going on in a once beautiful city that has been flushed down the toilet bowl of crap. Go.
So 4 people were arrested in New York after body parts were found in Long Island. Okay, dismembered body parts. The victims were, 2 people from Yonkers, older individuals. Suffolk County Police say 44-year-old Stephen Brown, 38-year-old Jeffrey Mackey, 40-year-old Amanda Wallace, and 33-year-old Alexis Neves were charged with concealment of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and hindering prosecution. They have not been charged with murder. Prosecutors told a judge there was so much blood in the pipes, sink, shower, and toilet of the Railroad Avenue home in Amityville where the suspects were arrested that it was deemed uninhabitable. Police said they confiscated meat cleavers, butcher knives, flesh, and body parts. Attorneys for Brown and Mackey admitted that their clients lived in that home where the body parts and all that blood was found, but denied chopping up the 59-year-old woman and 53-year-old man whose last known address was in Yonkers. Wallace also lived with Brown and Mackey in Amityville. Police said that Knives is homeless. Okay, all 4 pleaded not guilty. The judge released them without bail. They were fitted with GPS monitoring and must report in-person probation and surrender their passports.
I don't care about their passports.
Dude, guys, like what? Okay, so did further research because I just couldn't believe it. Here's more. With 2019 state reforms, mutilation and disposal of murdered corpses are among crimes that are no longer bail eligible. The DA said the 4 went to barbaric lengths to cover the crime. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing, Cenk? What are we doing? What are we doing? Someone tell me, what the F are we doing?
Yeah, look, no one signed up for this. I don't know how the hell any of these laws passed. I went to every progressive conference there was over the last 20 years. I never heard a single person saying, why don't we let the actual criminals go? Hey, if someone butchers someone and chops them up into little pieces, let's do the kind of criminal justice reform where they would be able to walk out free.
Yeah, come at me right now and tell me I'm the bad guy because I want these people who dismembered corpses and tried to conceal the evidence in prison. Come at me and tell me I'm the bad guy. Come at me.
Look, guys.
Insane, you guys are insane. Anyone who thinks this is okay is insane. And everyone else in New York has to suffer the consequences of this with random bag checks at the subway by National Guard troops.
Very intrigued by her outrage here. Come at me and tell me I'm the wrong one. Hey, Anna, come at me and tell me that when someone says their 6 black neighbors should not be gunned down by black gangbangers in their backyard in front of their children, that makes them racist, because it seems that now you've had your awakening. It took dismembering corpses and your suck governor and the guy next to you being like, well, nobody who's Democrat would ever vote for that. Wake the hell up. What do you think you've been voting for? You've been voting for crazy, you guys. And your chickens have come home to roost. Do you know who's awake, though? How about black voters? You want to hear some black voters? I do. Lindell TV, this audio soundbite number 1, talking about reparations. You can talk all you want about reparations. The question is asked, if reparations are due to black people in this country, who should be paying them? Listen to this gentleman's sage and historically accurate answer.
I feel that the Democratic Party should pay reparations to blacks because it was in the 1800s when the Republicans, which was known as abolitionists, separated from the Dixiecrats because they did not want to continue slavery. So after the abolitionists helped black people become Republicans and they changed their name, black people were able to own businesses. They was able to create the Black Wall Street, Rosewood. They were the most wealthiest communities in the United States. And so it was the Democratic Party who created the Ku Klux Klan, and the Klan were the ones who hated the blacks for creating Black Wall Street, and that's why they dropped the bomb on Black Wall Street. It was the Klan that did that. 2 years later, in 1923, it was the Klan that destroyed Rosewood. So if anybody owes black people money and reparation, it should be the Democratic Party, the Ku Klux Klan, which they originated from, that Democrats should be paying the money to blacks for all that they've done with slavery, the destruction of the black economic engines like Black Wall Street. I feel the Democratic Party should pay reparations to black people.
Oh my. He has it. Anna Kasparian's starting to wake up a little bit. How about this gentleman who says, you know what? Gosh, it's almost like the Democrats just want to keep the black community down. Listen.
Just make the playing field level. What are you afraid of? Here in the black community, the kids are going to school. You go out into the white communities, the school, what they have in there, the computers and what they have in technology, we're so far behind. It's all this is by design. Because if you can't get out here in this world, they don't teach you how to be entrepreneurs. They don't teach you how to invest your money. We're not teaching anything like that.
And you get back to this, though, and it's been Democrat for 60 years.
Yes.
What the hell? Why does the black community keep voting for Democrats?
Because we've been brainwashed. When I was coming up in my household, it was a straight Democratic ticket.
Black people better understand this. If we don't stand together and we don't make a change, they've already brought the replacements in for us. Yes. If we don't shut the borders in the black community and get all the illegals out of our community.
They know everything. These are not stupid people. All they need to ask in the black community is of their Democrat leaders, why are you against school choice? They need you in your place. They need you down. They need you on the take. They need you desperate. And they've gotten you exactly where they want you until it's time to wake up. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, got to hear some sound. Tony Bobolinsky setting the scene for what would be a pretty tumultuous 6 hours. Oh boy, we've got the best and the worst of it next. These people are no fools. I remember Brandon Straka went out in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And he did the man on the street. And he started talking with a woman, a black woman. And she was talking about this and that. And some other black lady was walking by. She stopped, kind of got in on the conversation. And she answered a question and went on a 2-minute dissertation of history about all of it. The black community ain't stupid. Not stupid. And they have been treated like the political pawns that they are. And every couple years, you know, somebody will come in and say, if you ain't voting for me, then you ain't black. How racist. How awful.
Wait, how about the fact that they say voter ID is racist because black people can't
Kamala said that.
And then
they're
in that
not
same
capable.
thing, in same vein, I watched a Jesse Waters thing, and people were like, "Yeah, I know where the DMV is. What?
Yeah, what's wrong?
How
with
do I
that?
not know where the DMV is?
You need an ID to have a baby.
To buy smokes,
You know,
booze."
Hey guys, let me tell you about Bioptimizers. Let me tell you about Magnesium Breakthrough. And I want to give you a couple talking points here because it's important. Unlike other magnesium supplements, and you might think to yourself, why do you take magnesium? Well, I didn't until I started taking Magnesium Breakthrough. And I was like, okay, whatever, magnesium. Until I slept through the night, until I slept well and woke up rested. No matter how much sleep I did or did not get, I don't toss and turn. I'm out, lights out. Boom, the minute my head's on the pillow, it's got to be within moments. I'm done. And then I wake up and I'm ready to do this day.
And you brag about the next morning.
And I brag about how well I slept the next morning. That is what magnesium is. Most magnesium supplements don't have 7 different kinds. Magnesium Breakthrough does. magbreakthrough.com/bell. magbreakthrough.com/bell. You're going to get 10% off. It's only like $35. All right. So it's going to cover you. You're gonna notice a difference. Do yourself a favor and try it. And then, for a month, try it. Let me know what you think. Go to wendybellradio@gmail.com and be like, this is my experience. I would not sit here and tell you I take it every day if I didn't. It works.
I know. I hear about it every morning.
magbreakthrough.com/bell. No, you don't. No, you don't.
That's fake.
I don't talk
news.
about it every morning.
Not every morning.
Well, you just said
almost
every morning.
every morning.
This is what drives me nuts. I can't handle.
What's moving the needle?
It's getting it off my face. I will throat punch you so freaking hard.
Dear HR.
I can't imagine being Tony Bobolinsky. I can't imagine being any of these whistleblowers. I can't imagine being Michael Schellenberger or Matt Taibbi or Joseph Sigler or Shapley. Is it Joseph Sigler? And I forget what Shapley's first name was. These are the people who came forward. They knew what the machine was. They knew what the consequences were. Well before Mr. Galanis came forward yesterday and said he's been raped in prison. I think that's the part that stuns me. Right? When you're pregnant, you watch everything. Oh, don't eat processed foods. Oh, you don't want to eat that. Don't take any vitamins or supplements. Certainly don't drink. Do all these things. Make sure you take care. Then you have your baby. And you baby-proof everything. You've got a 4D monitor in their crib. You've got a full house of alarms. You're worried about every creak, every sound, every breath. You plug every outlet. You change the locks on every cabinet. You put a latch on your toilet. Because a baby can fall in, a toddler can fall in, and because of their head being bigger than their body, weight-wise, they can topple in and drown. You go through everything. You cut up their food. You take them dutifully to be checked out at the doctor. Make sure their teeth are okay and their vision. You get them in the best school you can. You got them vaccinated, right? Want to make sure they're safe. And now all of a sudden we have this carefree, lackluster idea of the value of life. That we can just expend our sons and daughters in ridiculous wars around the world that we have no business being a part of, but that our government starts. And that our sons and daughters are blown up. That's just the collateral damage and the cavalier Joe Biden looking at his watch when their remains are transferred. That abortion is so indiscriminate. Do you think the Black community should ask themselves what it is about liberals that encourages them to get abortions so commonly? I wonder. To the drug problem that's facilitated by Joe Biden, the turnstile of open for business southern border stuff, to suicide, to disease, to heartbreak, to 4 people being allowed to chop up corpses and distribute them all across the city and barely get any coverage from it. What? What happened to us? Yeah, but see, that's not where it's happening. Over on the right, this isn't what we're down with, you guys. Tony Bobulinski laid it out on the line yesterday before this thing even started. And it was blistering because he's done having a front row seat to the suck. Listen.
Yet the same people preaching this mantra know better. They continue to lie directly to the American people without hesitation and remorse. Rep. Dan Goldman and Jamie Raskin, both lawyers, and Mr. Goldman, a former prosecutor with the SDNY from New York, will continue to lie today in this hearing and then go straight to the media to tell more lies. Hunter Biden's defense attorney, Abby Lowell, weaponizes letters to Congress to try to smear my name
Mr.
and
Chairman.
misstate the cold hard facts
Mr. Chairman.
in an attempt to save his powerfully connected client and his father. I challenge Mr. Lowell to make those claims on national television so he can be held accountable for his lies. Prior to my successful business career, I was an officer in the United States Navy. At Navy's Elite Naval Nuclear Power Training Command, I later served as the command's chief technology officer.
Proceed. I apologize for the disruption from the feed.
Okay. Am I supposed to say it's my time, Mr. Raskin?
Yeah. But please, Mr. Bobulinski, please
Okay.
come to order. Mr. Bobulinski, please proceed.
Okay.
Please proceed. I apologize for the disruption from the minority.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, it saved his time, but he called members of this committee liars, and I just want to know whether the order and decorum requirements of House Rule 11 apply to witnesses appearing before the committee. Does it apply or does it not?
There's decorum from the members. We've asked for that. There's no language that I'm aware of pertaining to a witness.
Thank you.
So don't make sure we didn't waste any of his time on the opening statement. Mr. Bobulinski, I'm sorry for the disruption. Please continue your opening statement.
I think Mr. Raskin, used.
We'll make sure it's right. We'll make sure.
Okay, great. I just want to restate, make sure the American people hear all these facts.
Jamie Raskin, the biggest snake in the swamp. So dirty, so disgusting, so predictable. Gets his boxers in a bunch because Tony Bobulinski called him a fraud and a liar and a propagator of suck. This is what you're going to hear today. You're going to hear Republicans ask pointed questions. Did the Biden family make money? Did Joe Biden accept a bribe? Who was the big guy? You're going to hear the Democrats read off their printed scripts because this is High School Musical, which edition? I've lost count. And they have rehearsed. They've practiced their lines. This is grandstanding 101. It's not about liberty and justice for all. It's not one country indivisible. Period. What do you think when you hear? Well, you decide. Next, hour 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio program. High 12,478 people watching on Rumble. We're so
almost
great.
1,000 on X.
We're so
9:30.
glad that you're here. Oh, nice. Welcome to our friends on X. It's great that that y'all are here. We appreciate your swinging by and visiting us. What you're about to hear is just gross. And that Jamie Raskin felt like it was within his purview to interrupt the opening statement of Tony Bobulinski. Tony Bobulinski called him out for what he is. He called out him, Jamie Raskin, and he also called out Dan Goldman, who were both part of the Southern District of New York. Both attorneys, Both attorneys, when Mr. Galanis was found guilty of crimes that Hunter Biden was allowed to bounce from and was insulated from. I believe that's probably why Joe didn't run in 2016, because this stuff was getting real. They needed a few years. Throw these people away for a few years. Put Jason Galanis in prison to get raped.
On a happier note, tomorrow is Friday. Bad jokes, WBRBrock@gmail.com. Good news, WendyBellRadio@gmail.com.
Ross thinks I'm sexy today. Whatever works, babe.
You want me to ban them?
Whatever works. No, I'll take it. How you doing?
How you do?
Did that work? No?
No.
Not really?
No.
Let me tell you about Patriot Switch, okay? Look, Patriot Switch, Riverbend Ranch Steaks. If you want to get an up-close and personal relationship with the finest USDA prime beef out there, then you want to go to patriotswitch.com/Wendy. I have been working with this company for coming up on a year and a half, and I have seen how their company operates. They operate with no debt. They put no chemicals, no antibiotics, no hormones or bad stuff in their things. And not only do they make 450 common household things that you and I use every day, they also have their own meat industry. And this is vertical, okay? So you don't have, buying cattle from here and there, and then they're going to be raised over here, and then they're going to be taken over here to be processed. It's all done by Riverbend Ranch. And it's the best meat you will ever have. Period. I'm just going to put it out there, okay? So the thing I like about working with Patriot Switch is when I see Target put out Satan clothing for kids, I'm done. I'm done. When I see at any kind of store the bathing suits meant to tuck in body parts that people want to hide, I'm done. I don't want to be a part of you anymore. You don't get my money. So where do you go to buy your laundry detergent, your dish soap, your deodorant, your cosmetics, your sunscreen, your chapstick? Where do you go to get your supplements? Where do you go to get your insect repellent? Where do you go? 450 products. I go to Patriot Switch. patriotswitch.com/Wendy. Join us for $1. $1 gets you into our club. And together we are taking our money away from the big brands that suck. And we're putting them into a different company that is Patriot-based. You will love the faith, freedom, family values of this company. If you trust me, you will like this. Why is it moving? I didn't do anything.
Did you yell at it?
I did not. No. I was just being honest. Stop. Oh, you son of a mother. Why? These are the questions I have. So we're going to start. Do we start with AOC? No, we haven't. No.
Start with Gates.
Got it. You mean that script that I wrote out or the schedule I wrote out? So this is part of what it looks like. My lips, yes. This is what it looks like in the morning, our rundown. It goes hour by hour. And since Newsmax covers the second 2 hours of the show, I have to be pretty concise with it and consistent with it, because then they will be all over the place. What?
What?
You went,
Oh, 12 people have looked at my profile on LinkedIn.
Oh, very fancy.
TV stations, radio stations.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I'm going to have negotiating power.
Wow. Good luck. $4 an hour is tough to beat. So, and if you join our locals page, and if you're on Rumble, you just go down and you can see join.
Or if you're on the app.
And if you're on the app,
you can join. There's a locals button at the top.
If you're not, if you're on X right now and we got just shy of 1,000 and you want to join our locals page, I put it out there. So every story I talk about, every link, every study, all the research at your fingertips, so you can double check us and you can get more information, because I often will start rolling on a tangent and then don't finish the story. But you can have it at your fingertips. Locals.com, put in Wendy Bell Radio. Brock should say something nice to me.
I have carpal tunnel.
Brock should definitely say something nice to me, don't you think? I'm a little emotionally tender right now.
I've got nothing.
Fantastic. Look, if you don't listen to this stuff and it doesn't just bother the hell out of you, I can't drive by watch anymore. I can't, which sucks.
Yes.
Which is why I need to vacuum.
But you're lucky. You don't walk into a place and somebody asks your opinion. I walk in because they hear you say it.
Oh, at the cigar shop.
Not just the cigar shop. Everyone
People
asks.
don't talk to me. They leave me alone.
I know.
Do I have cooties or something? Why do people leave me alone?
They're afraid of you.
Are they afraid of me?
Yeah.
I am
Terrifying.
I'm terrifyingly fierce.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Especially when I'm wearing fake eyelashes. I mean, it is a Newsmax day, so.
Are you wearing fake ones today?
I did a good job, didn't I?
Yeah. I couldn't even tell. Not that I was looking, but.
Right? The best thing is at 3:00 when I go. I look really good at that point. All right. Well, thanks. Darius still loves me. Thanks, Darius.
Oh, God.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America, one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump. Desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not. Which I think remains one of our big campaign strengths going forward. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly, they can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
All right, hour 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is official now and on the clock. Did you hear in our open Rush Limbaugh's voice? They can't separate you from Make America Great Again. That's it. That's the whole point of all of this. There is no wavering in those values, my friends. It's not open for debate. I'm not here to negotiate. It's America first. It's America best. Always. You don't have children so that they can be average. You don't want to just be mediocre. You don't teach your children how to phone it in, how to skate by, how to cut corners, how to lie, cheat, steal, bend the rules. It's not what's baked into who we are. And yet what we have is the culmination of that kind of personality in Congress. Now, we've split this up. It's a full hour. So you can hear exactly what happened, the various voices, the things that they talked about. And I got to say, as maddening as it's been for us, because we've been paying attention, as maddening clearly as it's been for Tony Bobulinski, who's been ensnared in the Biden crime family for far too long and blew the whistle on them. The Democrats refuse to have a reasonable approach to this. They're not interested in the facts. They're not interested in the truth. They're not interested in America. And because of that, they're not interested in you. And you will hear that. But House Republicans more surgically went through this. A various group of people, various voices, I should say, that you need to hear. Matt Gaetz, Tim Burchett, Jason Smith, Jim Jordan. Those are the voices you're going to hear representing the Republican Party. Tell us, Mr. Bobulinski, without equivocation, is blank such and such, yes or no? That's what I want to hear. That's what you're going to get. Now, Matt Gaetz is going to talk about this out of the gate. He's going to say, you know what, Mr. Bobulinski, and all of them have 4 or 5 minutes, whatever it is, to ask their questions, and it bounces. Republican to Democrat to Republican to Democrat. The Democrats have scripted out statements. They grandstand. They blow hard incessantly. And they demonize they demonize the people who are sitting in front of them to testify. It's disgusting. It is typical. It's what we expect. Here's Matt Gaetz, and listen to Tony Bobulinski in this first audio soundbite when he describes kind of the moment he realized that not only was the Biden crime family operating a crime, Hunter Biden had scammed him as well. Listen.
I didn't know till years later that they had defrauded me, they had gotten paid all this money, and all this craziness. The amount of facts,
it just seems pretty simple. This is either a bribe or a business.
It was a bribe from the Chinese Communist Party.
And
I don't say that lightly. There's 1,200 pages, 8 days of testimony in the Southern District of New York. I encourage everyone watching me, hearing me say this. They're publicly available. Go read them. Our Department of Justice outlines in intimate detail the corruption and bribes that CFC was deploying to political officials all over the world.
It wasn't
so
just in
I'm
the
here
United
to believe that they did this in every other country, but with the Biden family, it was pristine. It was an actual clean business. That's absurd.
Absolutely preposterous, he says. This was a bribe from the Communist Party, the Chinese Communist Party. Can you imagine? Donald Trump was impeached over a phone call. A phone call. A phone call overheard by a sniveling Alexander Vindman, who I'm sure now is a best-selling author for the New York Times, right? If Donald Trump had been accused of taking a bribe from the Communist Chinese Party, can you imagine? And everybody on the left expects you to roll over, pretend that you don't know, that you didn't see, hear, or know anything about the Biden crime family corruption, the suspicious activity reports, the millions of dollars, the incremental deposits, all of it. They know. Everybody knows. Representative Tim Burchett continues, and he asks about the shaking down Hunter Biden, shaking down the Chinese for $10 million. Exactly how did that go down, Mr. Bobulinski? Go.
At the end of July, it's important to note, Jim Biden was broke. Hunter Biden was broke. Published by the brave whistleblower Shapley and Ziegler. And Hunter made the conscious decision to basically defraud the partners of Sinohawk Holdings and Oneida because he needed money immediately. They've published pages of text messages where he's trying to get money into his bank account. And so that night, for whatever reason, on the 30th, when he asked why hasn't the commitment been fulfilled, the commitment he's talking about is actually the $10 million funding into Sinohawk Holdings, LLC. Really key point. But the next day, he decides that he's going to defraud Sinohawk Holdings and Oneida, create a new entity called Hudson West 3. Well, actually, change Hudson West 3. It had already previously been created by the Chinese, and make himself a 50% owner in that entity. So when the Chinese did send money, he would have instant access to it. Really important, backed up with tens of pages of communications. He wanted to get access to the money the second it came in.
But it's Donald Trump who is being fined $450 million for not committing a crime, for not hurting anyone. And Joe Biden and his crime family can enrich themselves by at least $10 million just from the Chinese. And they run out the likes of Dan Goldman and Jamie Raskin and Jared Moskowitz and others to run interference and lie. This is where we are. And it continues. Jason Smith, he's the head of the House Ways and Means Committee, a relative unknown before the Republicans regained control of the chamber. Jason Smith says this: was Hunter Biden telling the truth when he testified under oath that Joe was never involved? Listen.
You testified that Hunter was not shy about his ability to get his father on the phone. And Devin Archer testified that there were multiple instances in which Hunter placed his dad on speakerphone. Mr. Bobulinski, was Hunter Biden telling the truth when he testified under oath that his father was never involved in any of his business dealings?
No, he was not. Those are all blatant lies.
No, he was not. Those were blatant lies. Tim Burchett picks up the ball and continues. You know what? CEFC, that Chinese energy company that they were trying to sell natural gas to here, the wells, the pipelines, all of it, Hunter, through Westinghouse. So they were willing to work with the family to talk about a confidential matter. Mr. Bobulinski, do you know what that was about? Go.
On July 31st, the next day, Hunter says he hopes Kevin should know that the plan to speak is highly confidential. And Raymond Zhao responded, CEFC is willing to cooperate with the family and the priorities to solve the problems mentioned last night. What family was Raymond Zhao talking about? Was it
the family was the Biden family, and more importantly in that text is what is he talking about is the confidential matter. The confidential matter he's talking about were 4 sealed indictments in the SDNY where they were about to indict executives of CEFC that we now know. I didn't know that in July of 2017, but the SDNY knew. Charles McGonigal, who's now apparently going to serve 78 months in prison, ran counterintelligence for the FBI in New York City, where Chairman Yi was dropping $50 million of cash for penthouses in Manhattan. So who you should be asking all these questions are the Department of Justice, the SDNY, the FBI, because they have troves of evidence that back up what was going on in July 2017 and in August 2017. So I apologize, Congressman, to be so passionate and to take your time, but this is what I need you guys, the focus has to be of your oversight committee. This involved the Chinese Communist Party. They were doing a transaction with Rosneft, which was a Russian-sanctioned U.S.-sanctioned company at the time, and the Biden family was right front and center in the middle of it.
Which is why Donald Trump has been indicted 4 times, which is why that occupies your news space, which is why that is supposed to gobble up all of the oxygen, because all of these people were in on it, and they're all freaking covering it up, and it disgusts me. How could you be a Democrat today? Quick timeout. We'll be right back on the Wendy Bell Radio program. Dr. Richard Rafferty at the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh. You know what? I think they sent me some testimonials. I'm going to look real fast here, guys. Let me see. I love getting testimonials.
I love when we went there and we both looked at we're like, what's that?
Oh my gosh. When we first met Doc Rafferty, and there's like, instead of like a flower arrangement in the middle of the conference table, there's this like gnarled fake subsection of spine and vertebrae. And it's all like, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's that? And he's like, oh yeah, that's somebody who's got spinal stenosis. And I'm like, oh my goodness, no wonder. How about this? Dr. Rafferty says, let's see. Oh, here's Lisa from North Huntingdon. She says, when I came to the Disc Institute, I was unable to sleep for more than 2 to 3 hours at a time without pain waking me up. And to turn over was incredibly painful. I can now sleep through the night, and I'm able to turn over and get out of bed with hardly any pain. 5 out of 5 stars. 80% improvement and getting better. Here's Nancy. The shooting pains down my leg, they've ceased. I'm able to stand for longer periods of time. The staff is wonderful, very informative and encouraging. I will miss you all. You know, that's one of the great things about intradisc neutrosis. It's a limited time frame. It's a therapy that allows your bulging or herniated disc to grow back, to do it without surgery. So there is time involved, but you ultimately finish the treatment and then you move on with your life and you kind of graduate, right? PittsburghDiscInstitute.com, PittsburghDiscInstitute.com, 412-906-9600, 412-906-9600, because what they do works. 98% successful. Phew.
You know what I think would be interesting with all these testimonials or testimonies? I would laugh and play it every time if they all start with, first, let me say, I'm not suicidal.
Right.
And of course, Hunter needed the money. Hookers and drugs are not cheap. Not that I know. I'm just saying I've heard that hookers and drugs aren't cheap. I don't know if anyone can confirm that or not. I'm assuming they're not. I wouldn't know. I'm the most boring person you know.
I can attest to that.
Wow.
Wow.
That's hurtful.
Well, hey,
Just
we're
think,
all about honesty on this program.
If I wasn't boring, why would you wouldn't have? I don't know. I probably sent you 25 things yesterday. Easy.
What do you think we used?
15?
Well,
I know there's 24 pieces of silence.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot going on here, and I'm deeply gratified. Thank you.
Well, you know, ever since you called me a slacker.
Well, you know, there are some days when I just don't have that many needs. I'm more self-sufficient. There's stories that are out there that involve delving into, and sound is not available. So therefore,
but
you're
you
not
still send me and
as
going,
much.
We should look into this, which is code for, hey, can you help me look into this?
100%. Factual, actual.
It's usually Sunday mornings for some reason.
I'm trying to get a grip on stuff because I know I've got 2 away soccer matches this weekend. West Virginia and Ohio.
Oh, that's fun. You're so lucky.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Let's get this sound in before we run out of time. Jim Jordan with a very special question, very simple question of Tony Bobulinski, who is part of the Biden crime family syndicate. Go.
Mr. Bobulinski, who's the big guy? Joe Biden. Are you sure about that? Because when
Jordan, Joe Biden.
You're sure?
I'm 1,000% sure.
Because when Hunter Biden did his deposition under oath, he said, I don't know who it is, even though he was copied on an email that said H will hold 10% for the big guy. You sure it's the big guy is Joe Biden?
1,000%. And there's other text messages that back that up, that the brave whistleblowers, Shapley and Ziegler, have produced, not from my phones, not from my BlackBerry that I took screenshots from. They took them from subpoenas directly from Apple's iCloud that back up the fact that Hunter knew the big guy was Joe Biden.
The big guy is the brand. The big guy is the lift. The big guy is the one who showed up at golf outings, who took phone calls and meetings and lunches and dinners with Hunter Biden and his business associates. Is that right?
Correct.
Period. Now, isn't it so interesting that Peter Navarro was serving 4 months in prison while Hunter Biden just bounces on this, and there's no penalty to him? With liberty and justice for some, apparently. This is where Jason Smith comes back in, House Ways and Means. He's got a very basic fiscal question for Mr. Bobulinski. It comes down to the dollars and cents. Go.
Mr. Bobulinski, do you know whether the Biden family made any money from China?
They did. Millions of dollars. I think approximately 8 to 9 million.
The Biden family has made millions of dollars from China, correct?
Correct.
And you said at least 9 million?
Yeah, I think it's actually over 10 million, but I'll leave those details up to you guys.
And then Matt Gaetz, and speaking about Mr. Bobulinski coming forward yet again as a whistleblower, as a document providing, proof providing whistleblower. You know, Mr. Bobulinski, as uncomfortable as this is, it's almost like somebody who loves America, who believes in making America great again, would have to come forward or be unpatriotic. Listen.
And you saw that this wasn't just a corrupt bribe, a corrupt business deal happening to a guy who used to be vice president. When you see that Joe, everyone's made a big deal like you're a bad guy, that you showed up at the debate, or you're trying to give life to these facts that you've observed, that it's so bad that you did that during a political contest. But observing this, it kind of seems like it would be unpatriotic for you to stay quiet.
Of course.
And so, I mean, Joe Biden running for president clearly motivated the Chinese to consummate this bribe. Did it also motivate you?
Well, I didn't want to go public. I wanted to simply unload all the facts, personal experiences. It's funny, there's 18 people on this committee with law degrees, including, I think, Mr. Swalwell. Evidence, firsthand testimony, is the most powerful evidence you have. I've given it, Mr. Galanis has given it, along with a whole host of other witnesses. Then, on top of that, I have thousands of documents and pages of legals and stuff like that.
That's what's
I
interesting,
wanted
Mr.
to simply
Bobulinski.
give this information.
Yeah,
Congressmen and senators.
No
and
one
let them
questioned
do
any
their
of your
job.
facts. No one brought a single piece of evidence that even for a moment discredited any of the truthful testimony that you've given us.
No,
I see
they
my
did
time's
not.
expired. I yield back.
How many times has he sat there? How many times have I told you the same stories? How much did John Paul McIsaac just want somebody to pay attention to him? I have this hard drive. There's stuff on here that's disgusting. This is huge. And what did they do? They gunned for him. He feared for his life. Because in America today, you have to if you blow the whistle. What? Finally, Tony Bobulinski, at least in this section, before a break, implores the members of the committee to pay attention and to focus on what is going on, not the theatrical performance of High School Musical edition 17.4. Focus. Joe Biden is a traitor. He is a sellout. And we are all in danger because of it. Go.
My biggest appeal to everyone in this room is I wish you would spend the time focusing on the fact that the Chinese Communist Party infiltrated the White House of the United States of America through the Biden family. I don't say that lightly. It's not a joke. I was willing to die for this country, as was my father and both my grandfathers and my brother. This is serious, serious stuff. We should be asking how that happened. Take the Biden name and the Biden family completely out of it. How did the Chinese Communist Party infiltrate the White House of the United States of America? Let's start there, focus on those facts, what they did, how they did it, why they used money, why they used private enterprises instead of military stuff and other stuff. That is huge to our national security.
That involves many probing questions in the Southern District of New York, the Department of Justice, and the FBI, and a bunch of people you're going to be hearing from right after this next commercial break. Because then it's the Democrats' turn. What are their probing questions? Do they care about the truth, or are they committed to a cover-up, smokescreen, suck? You decide. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
I'll say it again. Today is Thursday. Getting ahead of myself. Bad jokes and good news tomorrow. You can send your bad jokes to wbrbrock@gmail.com. You can send your good news stories to wendybellradio@gmail.com. I don't know how many of you guys watched Sean's show last night when he had Rich on. Rich was talking about how the times are changing with even with the soccer moms, not the liberal soccer moms, the people who, the women who didn't like the way Donald Trump talked weren't necessarily those hardcore liberals, probably closer to the independent. But he says that the gap has got to the point where it's almost even. And that's huge for the Democrats because winning by 2 points doesn't get them across the finish line. And he's saying it's one point difference or even. So it's a good thing. It's good things for Donald Trump. He's bringing out the vote, and he's bringing people out. These Democrats have really shot themselves in the foot. They're forcing people to go to primaries. They're forcing people to pay attention. And the more people pay attention, the more they start to go, what? This doesn't make any sense. And the more they say this doesn't make any sense, the better it is for Donald Trump. The better it is for all of us. Because it gets these people who think no bail or justice reform to whatever they feel justice reform is, it gets them out of office. Really moving the needle. Who is Sean? Sean Parnell does a show on called The Battlegrounds right here on Rumble every night, Monday through Friday, 5 to 6. Wow, you look so different.
Hey man, I got a TV camera spying on me. I've got a filter on our camera, but none on theirs. So I'd rather not look like too much of a hot mess every single friggin' moment. This just drives me bananas. There you go. So what's going on, people? Ireland contracting is what's going on. Ireland contracting. You know, I'm all about hardworking people. I'm all about honest people. And when you have a skill set that is as important as construction, home exterior renovation, and you can literally take a homeowner and you can say, you know what? I know you've got plans. Let me help take the guesswork out of your plans. Let's sit down and figure this out and come up with the best strategy. Now you're talking. Now you're mine. Now you're my boyfriend. Gary Ireland, add him to the list. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Good people, really good mission. They stand by the work they do. A+ rated, Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, Guild quality. That means when other builders say, who would you call if you couldn't do it yourself? I'd call Ireland Contracting. There's a reason why. Roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, downspouts, windows, all of it. Sun tunnels. Don't know what a sun tunnel is? I didn't know either until my friend Matt Krupp from the Battlegrounds let me know about it. Skylights change your world, right? 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Huh. You know what I could go for?
A beer?
No. Mm-mm.
Are you feeling, wait a second. We need intervention. Are you feeling okay?
I'm feeling fine.
Are you sure?
I want a steak.
Ooh.
I want a big steak. I want a big.
I got gift certificates to Morton's.
Yes, you do.
I'll use the gift certificates and you can cover the rest.
Wow. Wow.
Well, the gift certificates don't go too far.
That was a very interesting suggestion there.
Right? Hey, I'm willing to eat some of the cost.
Wow.
as Booth would say. Wow.
Yes. I do love me that show Bones. Literally, that's how I just veg out. And it's so funny because
You don't even watch it. You listen to it.
I listen to it, yeah. I think when you listen to things,
You have to watch it. Bones is hot.
She's a very attractive woman.
Oh, yeah.
He's a smoke show too. How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Shut up. He is.
I don't think
darling.
he is.
Because you're a dude.
Say it like it's a bad thing.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. So each half hour, I kind of give a little synopsis I have to pass along to our podcast producer, Bob Sloan, who puts out the Wendy Bell Radio podcast every day. Get it if you haven't yet. It's super easy to take with you. Just download it onto your device and then boom, we're there every single day. More than 2 million downloads strong. But I usually put some kind of a title. And the title of this particular segment is The Ship of Fools has Capsized. Like, you know, Hank Johnson's Guam. We have all these boobs, these people who demand, and they demand our respect. They think they deserve it, but they don't do anything to represent us or our values. And you're really going to hear it in a degree to which it's exhausting. I will give it to you. It is exhausting. Tony Bobulinski, former associate of the Biden crime family syndicate, whistleblower. He's come forward, has for years. He's testified all sorts of times about this. He has to sit. Hunter Biden is supposed to be there too, but Hunter is bounced because, why would he be held accountable for being a scumbag? If his dad, scumbag in chief. Look, I'm not trying to be like, that's not funny to me. I don't think it's provocative to call the president of the United States a dirtball. But he is a demented one, a demented product of the Communist Chinese Party, who is a traitor to these United States. So before this even starts, Tony Bobulinski is going to torch Representative Ro Khanna, who's apparently bounced from this, has gotten up and left this hearing, even though this is what everybody's waiting for. This is the conversation that leads the breadcrumbs to the yes or no, are we going to vote to impeach Joe Biden? At this point, one could argue, would doing so, if you could get the ball over the finish line, right? If you could get over into the end zone, is it even worth it? And we could have an argument all day about that. But Tony Bobulinski absolutely torches Ro Khanna here because Bobulinski sat down with Ro Khanna and many of the others who are Democrats in that committee hearing and gave them all of the details of the fraud and the crimes and the suck months before the election in 2020. And they sat on it like dutiful dirtbags. This is in response to a question by Byron Donalds. Listen.
Congressman Donalds, I'd just actually like to spend 20 seconds. If you noticed, Congressman Khanna scurried out of here very quickly, and I'm actually disgusted as I sit here that he didn't address me based on the fact that I'm sitting here in front of the world trying to testify to the truth. In October 2020, I have messages I'm willing to produce to both the Democrats and the Republicans that Ro Khanna sent to me saying, you have always demonstrated to me that you're nothing but an honest with the highest integrity individual, and I was begging for him to go on CNN and tell the world in October 2020. I have extensive emails with Congressman Ro Khanna in 2021 and 2022 where I begged him and his staff to sit down with me and look at my BlackBerry phones that the Democrats are so focused on, to hire forensics experts and go through all of the factual information I had. So the fact that he did not even address me and then scurried out of here is disgusting to me. Sorry, Mr. Donalds.
Democrats are not interested in the truth. They're interested in covering up crimes. Can you imagine if Ro Khanna and others had sat down with Tony Bobulinski and had gone through actually and heard and listened and did their due diligence and served the people of these United States as demanded by their oath of office? Take that freaking flag pin off your lapel. Congressman Khanna. You hack. Only to be outdone in the short term here by Dan Goldman. Dan, who tries to corner Tony Bobulinski on a text message about Hunter Biden holding 10% for the big guy. Did anybody ever respond to that text, Mr. Bobulinski? And when Tony drops the details, Dan Goldman's face melts off and he begs desperately for Chairman Comer, intervene, make it stop. It's amazing. The truth is a phenomenal antiseptic. Go.
You provided the committee with a screenshot of a text message that is between James Gilliard and you, dated May 11th, 2017. You see this? I don't know if you can see it. If you can't see, it's just you and James Gilliard, though, right? You remember this text message, I'm sure.
Generally, yes.
All right. And in it, Gilliard writes, "Man, you are right. Let's get the company set up, then tell H and family the high stakes and get Joe involved." And 2 days later, Mr. Gilliard sent an email to you, CCing Rob Walker and Hunter Biden, in which he suggested a division of the company and included a proposal of, quote, 10% held by H for the big guy, question mark. You remember that, right?
The infamous email with the big guy? Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Did anyone ever respond to that email?
Yes, they did, numerous times.
Sorry.
Hunter Biden himself did.
Excuse me. You're right.
Well, no, I think that's important because
Sir,
Hunter
did anyone
Biden has
ever
claimed that he didn't
Can you answer my
respond to it,
questions?
and he responded to
Okay.
it. I believe
You're just
3
going to
times.
filibuster. I reclaim my time that's running out, but I will say no one responded to the big guy reference for 10.
Thank you for making my point. They didn't have to respond because they all knew the big guy was Joe Biden.
I reclaim my time. Mr. Chairman, please control the witness.
Please control the witness. He's answering the question, and I haven't been able to corner him effectively. And he just made me look like a liar because that's what I am, a liar. Oh, no. Right? You're just going to filibuster. Telling the truth and answering your question is not filibustering. It is when you're grasping at straws and you know you're on the losing side of suck. The ship of fools has capsized, but not before this. Jared Moskowitz, the guy who wore a Putin mask to the hearing, tries to get Jim Jordan and Jamie Comer as the respective heads of the committees to just call for an impeachment. Let's just pass all of this by. We don't need to hear all of this. Why, Jared? Is it because it's blisteringly horrible for you and the liberals here? Is that what it is? Listen to this.
Look, Chairman, we got like 3.5 minutes here. I mean, let's just do the impeachment. I mean, why continue to waste millions of dollars of the taxpayers' money if we're going to impeach because you believe you've shown he's committed a high crime and misdemeanor? What are you waiting on? Let's just do it. I mean, by the way, we got Chairman Jordan here also, the double chairman. Why aren't you guys calling for the vote in your committee? When is it going to happen? When can we tell the American people you're going to stop wasting their money and just call for the vote on impeachment?
Gentlemen, yield?
Sure.
We don't do snap impeachments like you guys. We actually do the facts. We do oversight
So
according to the
you're
Constitution.
never going to call for it. You're never going to call for it.
Jared, you look scared. You should be. Because America is watching. They've seen the evidence. The same way the black community is seeing what's been going on generationally. And now, the frying pan to the forehead as millions of migrants come in to replace them. Everybody sees what's going on. It's a bad look for you. And he comes back. Jared Moskowitz does, with a very simple question. Go.
Do you believe he should be impeached?
I do.
Okay, and you believe that because you believe Chairman Comer has proven that he committed a high crime and misdemeanor?
No, because I know that he committed high crimes and misdemeanors.
Okay.
I was involved and saw them happen.
I was there, you little nerd. You little self-aggrandizing twerp. I watched it happen. I was part of it. Don't you see? Here's Jasmine Crockett. I don't know whoever decided to make this woman anything other than a toxic witch. All she wants to do is impugn Tony Bobulinski's credibility. And she asserts that he's auditioning for The Apprentice. These are not Democrats who give a rip about facts or truth or anything. These are High School Musical B-rate players. Go.
It seems like my colleagues and maybe you and some others are trying to become the next vice president of the United States of America. You're auditioning or something like that because, Mr. Bobulinski, I know that you take exception to the fact that your credibility has been called into question over and over. But when someone comes to testify under oath, whether it's before this committee, behind closed doors, or in person, then we have to evaluate someone's credibility. And sir, I definitely have always had issues with your credibility, as I know that you are very well aware of. So let me remind you of what happened behind closed doors.
Well, you should ask Ro Khanna about my credibility.
I haven't asked you a question. Okay?
You are?
When I haven't. So when I ask you a question, that's when you answer. Otherwise, I'm talking. So,
excuse me?
With my time, because it's my time.
That, my friends, is a liberal woman. That's what you get. God, I'm sure she lives with cats. You don't think? Brock doesn't think she's a cat person. This is what you get. Now, before we go into this next commercial break, I want to drop on, that is so gross, by the way, to go after the integrity of a witness rather than actually have any kind of intellectual curiosity, because you're being used as a pawn of the Democrat Party, Jasmine, and you're too dumb to see it. What a crying shame. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez may just trump her in the dumb woman category today. Go ahead.
Is it your testimony today that you personally witnessed President Joe Biden commit a crime?
I believe the fact that he was sitting with me while I was putting together a business
Did you
deal,
witness the president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
And what crime have you witnessed?
How much time do I have to go through it?
It is simple. You name the crime. Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO and conspiracy.
What is the crime, sir?
You
specifically.
You asked me to answer the question. I answered the question.
No.
RICO, you're obviously not familiar with. Corruption statutes.
Excuse me, sir. RICO is not a crime. It is a category.
It's a category of crimes that you're then charged.
You have charges.
A long 100.
You have charges. Sir, please
name the exact statute under RICO?
Yes.
Well, it's funny. In this committee room, everyone's not here. There's over 8
All right, sir. I reclaim my
lawyers that went to law school.
RICO is not a crime. It's a category. Somebody better call Donald Trump and his lawyers, because last time I checked, they're using that as a crime against him. Oh, boy. Do not go anywhere, because we're not done with this yet. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
She gives dumb women a bad name.
Wow, isn't that a shame? Just gross people.
And the reason Jasmine Crockett, I could tell you, is not a cat woman is because cats are very independent, and there's not a cat that would put up with her bullshit. I mean, bullshizzle. There's not a cat in the world. Cat would be like, I'm out of here. I'm taking over the world, and you're not part of it.
I'm out. The door would open, that cat would fly. I'll live on the streets.
To be honest, the cat may kill her in her sleep. He'd get that one nail out and
yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's how they roll.
Right?
They are not, they don't mess around.
Maybe that's why I've never had one.
I never had one either. Still don't.
I won't embarrass you by letting everybody know the name of your cat.
I didn't name him. He came with that name.
Oh, right.
Do you know the name?
Kit Kat?
Oh, yeah. That's not I just call it cat. Here's how you know that I did not name the cat. The cat that I actually like, who is outside, I've never petted him. but he kills like other things in the around. So if you see mice laying around, that's him. Rather than be outside and him kill them than them actually get into the house. His name, which I named, is Gary. So when I yell down the street, Gary, people don't think I'm stupid for yelling at the cat because I feed him. I feed him. So he sticks around and
That's a long kind of defensive answer. I just kind of got that vibe.
I just thought for edification, I thought I would explain it because you're always looking for edification.
Really?
Why don't you say something nice about somebody?
I was going to talk to you guys about sponsor j6.com, and I'm excited about this. I'm really excited about partnering with sponsor j6.com to help raise money for our tortured political prisoners who've been ensnarled in the suck brought about by these people you're hearing right now. These guys desperately need our help. They need our donations because they go to a commissary inside the prison to get their toiletries, their shampoo, their deodorant, their soap, their toothpaste, to be able to make phone calls, to be able to get food that they like, their clothing. They've got to actually work for it unless it's donated to them. If you want to join with us, and we are doing this, sponsor j6.com. It's a monthly commissary sponsorship program. Goes directly to the January Sixers in prison. So they have to pay for, like I said, food, clothing, hygiene products, their phone calls home, and they need our help. And this whole thing was founded by January 6 prisoner Jake Lang. They have already taken care of hundreds of people. Sponsor j6.com. It's so interesting to get the takeaway of AOC's like mental breakdown after Tony Bobulinski runs circles around him. And I love this article. Hunter Biden demanding a hearing on Capitol Hill, doesn't show up for it. Well, maybe he should have, because his allies in the Democratic caucus aren't really handling things all that well. And you've got to admit, this is the gift that keeps on giving. Tony Bobulinski's testimony once again producing must-see moments, this time involving AOC. Now, the Congresswoman, as you just heard, tried to pin the witness down on noting specific crimes he witnessed Hunter and Joe Biden commit. I'm pretty sure she wasn't expecting him to be ready with an actual answer because he triggered her harder than a long day at the range. And it's true. And just the first 2 minutes, we just played for you the first 2 minutes of this. Because you know what? Donald Trump, according to Newsmax, he should really question those charges after AOC declares, Newsweek, I should say, after AOC declares RICO not a crime. That's fascinating, don't you think? So as AOC said, that racketeer-influenced and corrupt organization is not a crime, sparking questions online over former President Donald Trump's RICO charges in Georgia. It seems Newsweek is doing its due diligence and is talking about this. Bobulinski, as you heard, saying, yes, you asked me to answer the question, did Joe Biden commit a crime? Yes. And I answered the question, RICO, you're obviously not familiar with corruption. Of course, before he could continue, she interjected saying, excuse me, sir, RICO is not a crime, but a category. What is the crime? Well, Newsweek, finally reached out to Ocasio-Cortez's office for comment. Obviously hasn't heard anything back. But all sorts of people are blowing up X right now saying, really? Because if it's not a crime, but a category, as Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez suggests, then Donald Trump should be bounced from that case. Facts. Now, this is interesting. So the beginning of the program, I told you, the theme today is used and abused. It's people out there like the gal from the Young Turks who realizes that as a liberal, America is not safe. What are we doing? She says. What are we effing doing? She's awakening. You heard the black voters giving you a history lesson on slavery and the Ku Klux Klan. These are figments and fragments of history on the left, not the right. And now you've got this. This is the moment CNN realizes, oopsies, it's on the wrong side of America. Here's Abby Phillip. She's the news hack talking to Hakeem Jeffries, and she's dropping these numbers. Look, Hakeem, these numbers for Joe Biden among the minority populations are horrendous. Does this mean that your messaging isn't really hitting the mark? So she's awakening a little bit, sort of, not really. And all he's got is the line that has been handed to him that doesn't sell. Go.
I want to show you this New York Times Siena College poll that found that both Black and Hispanic voters say that Donald Trump's policies have helped them more than Joe Biden's policies by pretty wide margins, especially when you look at Hispanic voters. Is that alarming to you, that nothing that the Biden campaign has said or done to this point has brought that at least closer than it is right now in this polling?
The Biden administration has an incredible track record of support and making sure that it is working at all times to build an economy from the middle out and the bottom up as opposed to the top down.
What does that mean to any of you? What does that mean to any of you? Does that mean anything? Does that mean your prices are coming down? Does that mean that your children who are Generation Z are going to be able to afford a house anytime soon? What does that mean? Does that mean you're going to be able to save more for the future, that you're safer, that education's better? No, Hakeem. It means you suck. And you know you suck. How about this? CNN still, Jared Bernstein, he's the White House hack who's the chair of the White House Council of Economic Advisors. And the CNN news person is like, look, it's obvious that America's not pleased with your economy. Is it maybe time to change the strategy? Because middle out, bottom up, and all the other things that you're saying about Bidenomics working, it's not working, Jared. Listen.
I had the Treasury Secretary on the show right after the State of the Union address, and I asked her why polling isn't showing that people give Joe Biden credit for good things happening in the economy. And Yellen said essentially, we need to explain what the president is doing to improve people's lives. I've heard that repeatedly from Democrats and the administration as to why voters say they don't feel good about the Biden economy. Do you think at this point, Jared, we just need to promote his accomplishments more strategy may be falling flat?
I don't know about that. That all sounds like a very strategic communications kind of question, and it's a valid one. What I can tell you is that what you just prescribed there is exactly what we're doing. In fact, what we're doing as you and I speak.
In fact, we're sucking right now, right here on this live show. What we should be doing together to help sell Joe Biden. There is no spin. They got the wrong people. They have corrupt, traitorous people. They have people who should be in prison instead of the January 6ers. You have people who've committed actual crimes. And those people, by the way, are named Biden. Biden. Jared. Now, it's so interesting. If Democrats or the media, which they're the same, sorry, if they cared about one of anything other than all this garbage optics and forcing stuff on our children and dragging down the quality of education and putting us at a disadvantage generationally, right? They would stop pushing this DEI nonsense. Well, Washington Governor Jay Inslee just signed something into law you need to know about, as a Harvard professor also accused of plagiarism now says that racism or marriage isn't just racist, that two-parent nuclear family is too. Oh my goodness. Buckle up. We'll be back in moments on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
We haven't got 3K yet.
They'll get there.
Huh?
They'll get there.
Oh.
Right, guys? Can we get 220 people, please, to click the thumb up? We got 12.5 watching. We got another 1,400 over on X. And if you, the greatest way to support us other than supporting our sponsors is to Rumble, and that is the thumbs up. You know, we have some thumbs downs. 9, welcome
That's
to you.
all right. We get credit for those.
We are glad to have you. But if we could get to that 3,000 mark, where were we yesterday on the leaderboard?
When I saw it was 6.
Oh, nice. So we bounce all over the leaderboard.
We were 4. Then we went to
see how
day
Brock. Do you
before.
see how Brock does that? How he sort of like kind of punches you as he's dropping a fact, but it's sort of like in a disparaging, disappointed way. Well, we were 4.
My question is it a
we
fact?
did make it,
It
but
is.
but now we're 5. and
Facts
6.
are facts. You might not like the facts, but they're facts.
Kelly Morgan and Morgain's Fitness, MORGAINZ Fitness.com. They're phenomenal. I love what they do. And I love that when you walk in, it says, proud sponsor of the Wendy Bell radio program in all 4 of her locations in Somerset and Cambria counties here in southwestern Pennsylvania. Delighted to partner with Kelly Morgan, who is an Air Force veteran. She is a mom. She is an entrepreneur. She's a badass. And she is very shortly here going to compete in a bodybuilding something or other, which just scares the liver out of me because I've seen the little skimpy get up she's got to get into. Wow. I want pictures. Don't you guys want pictures? I'll get pictures. You got my word. But hey, if you live nearby and you're ready to make that commitment, you're tired of putting it off, and you're ready to get strong, you're ready to learn what goes on in the gym and how to do it yourself, get in touch with Kelly Morgan. She's amazing. Ask about the 90-day Ignite program. It works. What else are we going to talk about here? These next stories are just so ridiculous and so disappointing. There is more to life than incessant racism, you know? Because if you want to look for racism, you'll find it. You'll find somebody. Did you see Don Lemon? Oh my God. Don Lemon now says that the reason Elon Musk did not like his interview with him wasn't because Don doesn't listen and isn't that intelligent, but rather that Elon was uncomfortable because Don is black and gay. Does anybody give a rip? I care that Don Lemon is a crap human being. That has nothing to do with his skin color or his sexual orientation. And for people who don't want to be based on certain things, judged on things, my, they do like boxes, don't they? Just put me in this box. Don't look at me as anything other than that. I am black or I am gay. That's who I am. God, I hope that's not what I ever do.
Are you saying mean things about me?
No. No, I was not.
Geez, why don't I believe you?
I was not. Certainly not. 2.96. Honest to goodness. So we almost get 200 people to click the thumbs up button because of the reminder. And you did that in like a minute. Thank you. Can we just get 40 more? All we need.
Never enough with you.
40 more and we'll knock that out of the park. And then I will shut up. And I know that's really the real issue. It would be for me. This story is just so unfortunate.
Well,
And
here's the thing. If we don't get to 3.5, because that's sort of the new number for Toto. And I know there's some people that probably be happy about that, but
Toto has meaning to me and to Brock. But it has meaning to me. And there's a reason it exists.
and it's existed for
years.
3 years?
Yes.
Well, if you say, Darius, if you say no, Toto at 3K, what's the difference between 3K and 3.5? It's just a mere click of the mouse.
Mere. Wow, listen to you, Mr. Erudite.
I don't know what that word means.
Mm-hmm.
You and your big 25-cent words.
I have tension.
You may kick you in the shins, you'll forget about your face.
No, it hurts.
You want to...
What's that? Advil?
Yeah.
No. I think this is a good look. What do you guys think?
Hold on, let me screenshot it. Someone screenshot that.
No.
Wait, let me get off so you can screenshot it.
No. It's a good look. I can't help it.
If I don't get my photo, I'll flip tables at this place.
You guys are funny. I love you.
Well, that he doesn't want Toto for the flipping tables.
I do love you.
$3:04. I mean, you have 25 minutes. I don't think that's asking too much, do you?
I would love it if you guys would assist us in that regard.
You don't want to make her angry. Someone will get thrown down the stairs.
I am a violent person. Sorry. Don Lemming. Don't tell me it's Lemon. I know it is. But he is.
We've called him Don Lemming for a long time, too.
What a schmuck.
A lot of our things seem to stick.
He looks terrible. He looks super old.
Good news, bad jokes.
Yes.
I don't know what open to play. I'll play this one for all the Democrats.
Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America, one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
All right, today we're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So let's say in this case, I want to find out at a level of 7. Okay, so I find that level on my graph and I come horizontally to my gradient line. Where it intersects with my gradient line, I'm going to come straight down to where it intersects with my round line. Now there's going to tell me how much I have to around to find out what I need to find out. See, as you can see, the more you around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never around, you'll never find out. So I hope this lesson is helpful. Thank you.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Welcome back. Hour 3 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program. You know, it's one of those complicated subjects, but it really should not be. When we talk about racism, when we talk about relationships with people who don't look the way we do, you know, I thought we were doing just fine. It's not a perfect world. Nobody thinks that it is. And there are going to be bad people out there all over the place, right? You cannot legislate behavior. A lot of this stuff has to come at home, right? You have to teach things at home. But the more you focus on something, the less meaning I think it ends up having at the end of the day. If everything is racist, then nothing is at all. If every woman is a victim of some kind of an assault, why would anybody want to ever deal with women again? If Don Lemon can only see the world as a black gay man and doesn't branch beyond what clearly are his crutches, I don't give a fat rip what he looks like or who he loves. Do you? Of course not. This is where we are, though, where we're mired in this swirl. So we're in the commode. We're swirling around the bowl, swirl, swirl, swirl. There's no on-ramp, off-ramp, no getting out of it. And it's all by design. So when we talk about Harvard University, I have to honestly question the value of this institution. I have to question the value of college in general in so many capacities because we're seeing grown-ups behaving like children. Same way we're seeing it in Congress. We're seeing people who have cut corners, who've been elevated into positions they ought not have been because they are not smart enough. It doesn't mean because they're black. It just so happens that these are the people who are being exposed as frauds. And some of the things that they're writing about are just ridiculous. And they're pushing that Communist Manifesto, the agenda to destroy. How do you destroy the greatest place on planet Earth? Got to chip away at the family. You got to remove God and conscience and the golden rule. You've got to make everybody angry. You've got to create smoke screens so people can huddle around, warm their hands and fan the flames. And all of it, unfortunately, is predicated on this idea that you ought not be held responsible for what you do, how you act, what you say, if you check a box. Well, so I'm a big fan of Christopher Rufo. He is a great journalist who has really dug into the woke agenda, the nonsense agenda in education. And in this particular Substack that he wrote regarding Harvard, he blows the lid on yet another toxic person, and she happens to be a Black woman who obviously was elevated to a position because all of a sudden now we have all these quotas we have to fill, which inherently is dangerous. You know as well as I, that doesn't create American exceptionalism. It satisfies some global agenda of garbage that we never signed up for, nor did we vote for. The same way the Young Turk said she didn't sign up for these radical New York policies that allow violent criminals to walk free among the population. So I want to read this to you. Another Harvard racial justice scholar is being accused of plagiarism. Now, unfortunately, this is not anything new. We're not like, what? Harvard? I think Harvard has absolutely punched itself in the pants, shall we say, in the crotchal region. Hakpow! Again and again and again. And this is the most recent iteration. Harvard professor Christina Cross is a rising star in the field of critical race studies. What the hell even is that? Is that like the African diaspora, which I don't know what that means? I don't, what are you doing? We're creating a generation of students who cannot think critically, who are ensconced in a bubble of feelings predicated on some inherent disadvantage they have based on something that they can't control about themselves, whether it's their gender, their race, or their sexual identity. Because no, I don't think you can choose. So she earned a PhD from the University of Michigan, this woman, Christina Cross, Harvard professor. She secured the support of the National Science Foundation. I'm sure all too eager to fall over themselves to have a Black woman check a box for them. She garnered attention from the New York Times when she published an influential article titled "The Myth of the Two-Parent Home." The myth. Now, that's vague, so let's hope for some granular data, shall we? So in her 2019 dissertation called "The Color, Class, and Context of Family Structure and Its Association with Children's Educational Performance," won a slate of awards. Of course it did. Including the American Sociological Association Dissertation Award and the ProQuest Distinguished Dissertation Award, and helped catapult her onto the Harvard faculty. What do you want to bet? What happened next? Bum, bum, bum. Well, according to a new complaint filed with Harvard's Office of Research Integrity, her work is compromised by multiple instances of plagiarism, including verbatim plagiarism, also mosaic plagiarism. Wow, we've even diagnosed people who steal thoughts from other people. We put these fancy words on them. Oh, it's a mosaic, right? It's not a kaleidoscope of plagiarism yet, but it's close. Hopefully soon we'll near the tapestry of plagiarism phase. Uncited paraphrasing and uncited quotations from other sources. That's got to suck, right? I'm a woman. I'm a black woman. I'm an angry black woman. I'm going to talk about the two-parent household as being racist, right? I'm going to lie. I'm going to steal. I'm going to take other people's thoughts because I don't have my own. And I was unwilling to do my own research because, by the way, I'm probably a product of the system of suck that the gentleman that you heard earlier in the program talk about. We're brainwashed into thinking that the Democrats care about us until it gets down to the nitty-gritty of education and we see our kids in the white communities getting fancy computers and getting the dry erase boards and all the magic screens and such. And we have antiquated suck. They want us in our place. They need us. Needy. You're right, sir. Chris Rufo writes this: I've obtained a copy of the complaint, which documents a pattern of misappropriation in Cross's dissertation and one other academic paper. Complaint begins with a dozen allegations of plagiarism related to the dissertation that range in severity from small bits of duplicative language, which may not constitute an offense, to multiple passages heavily plagiarized from other sources without proper attribution. It's so weird how this happens. The most serious allegation is that Cross Cross lifted an entire paragraph, nearly verbatim, from a paper by a woman named Stacy Bostick, titled Family Instability in Childhood and Criminal Offending During the Transition into Adulthood, without citing the source or placing verbatim language in quotations. And it goes to give you the exact language. Well, the problem with this is, not only is this woman Cross lifting verbatim language out of other people's research, she's using their research to go out and posit that if you're part of a husband-wife, presumably husband-wife family structure with children and the fence and the minivan, that you are at a core level the very embodiment of a racist. I don't have time for this anymore. Harvard ought to be Bud Lighted. What they spew is toxic garbage. It's lies extrapolated from other people's work because the box-checking people they hired as heroes of their DEI initiatives don't have apparently the mental acuity to do their own research without stealing from others. Now, of course, they expect to be wrapped in that invisible cloak, right? So that they do not ever have to be held accountable. And they can say exactly what Elon Musk apparently is to Don Lemon. After sitting down with Elon Musk, Don Lemon, formerly of CNN, talking about this and that and getting eviscerated by Elon Musk, Don Lemon comes out and says, well, Elon probably has a problem with me because I'm black and gay. How dare you, you small-minded twit. I dislike you because you suck, and that has nothing to do with who you love and what you look like. Quick time out. We'll be right back on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I haven't even gotten into Jay Inslee. Wait till you hear this initiative, because this makes sense. I feel so bad for our friend, Ari Hoffman.
Imagine. Wow. 3.13.
You going to browbeat them?
Not looking good. It's just not looking good.
Well,
not looking good.
It's disappointing, but it is what it is. Not every day can be great. I mean, I can be great every day.
Show him the Chia Pet. Maybe that'll help things out.
With 3 Pittsburgh locations, thousands of patients treated successfully. Get your life back. Start feeling better. Call me, Dr.
You know what? There are a lot of black women out there who are excruciatingly talented.
Oh, no doubt.
Why do we keep choosing the wrong ones to elevate? They're the embarrassing ones. They're the Jasmine Crockett's of the world. They're the Stacey Plaskett's of the world.
The Stacey
They're the
Abrams.
Corey Bushes, Stacey Abrams, right? Ayanna Presley's. These are not the best and the brightest. We're dipping into the bottom of the barrel. This is not indicative of the gene pool of talented Black women out there. Where's Winsome Sears? These are not people, obviously, the left would ever affiliate with, because they're not malleable. Winsome Sears. I hate everyone. I think I'm tapped out on my reads.
Well, that'll give you enough time to browbeat.
Oh, you want me to keep browbeating people?
Well,
all right, let's see. We are at 318. All right, so that's a lot. We need a lot.
You got 318?
We need 320 people. I know we have almost 11,800 watching and another 15 on X. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you finding us and hanging out with us. You can bounce over to our app, Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Yeah, Candace Owens is another Black woman.
Yes. If you guys can hit that green button underneath the video box, that obviously benefits us quite a bit. Yes,
I don't know why you have to beg.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just I'll stop doing it. I really like that stuff. GetCert.com. It's good.
Ari Hoffman, nothing's happened. He lives in the state of
No, he has to deal with it.
Yeah.
He has to report on it all the time. It's awful. And he's a regular guest on my Newsmax show. And I just want to reach through the lens and give him a hug. Be like, well, you don't have Josh Shapiro of freaking cataclysmic
he does have
suck. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's a step down that's just a lateral move
It's a push.
right there. God. Oh, you used a
Don't even. I swear to God, I'll punch you. That you're surprised. Thanks, Brock. How long do I need for Chantel? 4 minutes. All right.
This is complete TDS.
So I'm going to have to get to her expeditiously.
There you go. 25 cents to you.
You get the government that gets voted in, I guess. Washington State Governor Jay Inslee signing into a law this idea that public schools should have LGBTQ plus history. Let's not talk about the Civil War, or maybe in addition to it, we'll also talk about the brave men and women of the LGBTQ community and how vital they are to our national fabric, historically speaking. What are we doing? What are we doing? It is a race to the bottom, and America is winning. Now, I'm sorry, but you guys need to hear Representative Chantel Brown. This is another one of those women who's being used as a pawn by the Democratic Party. She's been given a script to read in yesterday's hearing with Tony Bobolinsky, and she reads it, and you need to hear all of it. This is what triggered sock sounds like. Go.
It is the bondless, broke bluffer, twice impeached, 4 times indicted, insurrection initiator, election denying, self-declared dictator on day one, and puppet for Putin. The one who wants to terminate the Constitution and defund the FBI. The one who romanticized exchanging of love letters with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. The one who just last week embraced autocrat Orban of Hungary to discuss their diabolical plans to destroy our democracy. The one who proposed a policy to ban Muslims from this country. The one who just this week said any Jewish person who votes for a Democrat hates their religion and Israel. The one who called neo-Nazis carrying tiki torches chanting Jews will not replace makes us good people. The one who referred to African nations as, I quote, shithole countries. The one who called NFL players, the majority whom are black, sons of bitches for taking a knee in protest of the ever-present racial inequality and police brutality that continues to pervade our justice system. The one who called Mexicans rapists and promised to build a wall and have them pay for it, and in case you missed it, it didn't happen. The one who told women of color from born in the United States, elected to Congress and serving on this very committee, to go back to their own countries. The one who bragged about grabbing women by their private parts. The one who confused his rape victim, whom he claimed was not his type, for his very own ex-wife. The one who is an admitted and committed adulterer who attempted to pay off a porn star for her silence. The one who has publicly mocked people with disabilities. The one who dodged the draft and referred to prisoners of war as losers, the very people who pay a high price so we can enjoy the freedoms that far too many of us take for granted. The one who boasted about being able to stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue to shoot someone and not lose votes. The one who promoted political and physical violence multiple times, including most recently at my rally in my home state of Ohio, where he declared there would be a bloodbath if he didn't win. The one who intentionally denied COVID was deadly and eventually suggested injecting bleach into our bodies to kill the respiratory virus that took the lives of 1 million people in the United States. The one who ordered his son-in-law get top secret security clearance, overruling concerns flagged by intelligence officials, who, according to this committee's chairman, admitted the former president's son-in-law crossed the line of ethics by accepting a $2 billion investment into that very same son-in-law's fledgling firm only 6 months after leaving the White House. If any of this sounds crazy, it's because it is. This might sound unbelievable, but it's all true. These are facts, indisputable facts, a thing that is known and proven to be true. This may be a foreign concept to some of my colleagues, but for those of us who still have a relationship with the truth, please know this is not an exhaustive list of inappropriate, unethical, and questionable behavior by the maniacal manipulator of Mar-a-Lago, because I could go on, but I only have 5 minutes. Yet here we are again, trying to make sense out of nonsense. I would humbly, respectfully ask my Republican colleagues on this committee to stop falling over yourselves to win the approval of one, because millions of people are depending on you to defend our delicate democracy. And with that, I yield the remainder of my time.
Amazing, isn't it? That's just amazing. Now, if Donald Trump is suing George Stephanopoulos and ABC News for George, in a sit-down interview with Congresswoman Nancy Mace, calling Donald Trump a convicted rapist, that young woman, Chantel Brown, from Cuyahoga County, Ohio, if she doesn't get a lawsuit after that 3-minute and 58-second diatribe of filth, I'd be surprised. This is what we're up against. And unfortunately for Chantel, she's either too stupid or too complicit to realize that she is being used. She is nothing more than a doormat for the DNC. They handed her the script and she performed it. This was a Tony Bobulinski hearing, by the way. Did you hear her questions of him? Right. Whatever happened to Me Too? I don't know, but Christine Blasey Ford is desperate for you to remember it. I got that story next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Unfortunately, we're not allowed to sue people in Congress.
Yes.
Or for lying on campaigns. You're allowed. That's the most ridiculous thing. You're allowed to lie if you're in Congress.
Yep.
You're allowed to.
Yep.
It blows my mind.
100%. Think about that. You are allowed to say whatever you want to say and be a dirtbag.
And then Obama, in 2012, signed an act that lets the media lie to you. All these people do is lie.
If you don't have results, I think that's part of the reason why they hate Donald Trump so much, because there were tangible results, you know. Money in your pocket is a tangible result. It's just gross. They're all just gross. No question. I have the burps. Sorry.
I had the hiccups.
Did you just have the hiccups?
Yeah.
Gosh. It's aggravating for a fact. Let's see. How are we doing? Not very well, are we?
No.
Oh.
No, they're falling way short.
Yeah. It is what it is,
it's
guys.
A shame.
Do you guys feel the guilt ball that's dropping at your feet?
You lost it. Something you lost your appeal somehow.
You think?
Well,
I find that very uncommon and unusual and unacceptable. That's not what happened.
I'm just pointing out facts.
Oh.
At 327.
Well.
Then there's that.
Brian, I did get your message on X that News Talk 1400 serving the Winchester, Virginia area just cut off your show for sports news.
Sometimes.
That's what happens, you know.
Well,
That sometimes happens, right?
RTA, they have contracts with sports teams. Like I know RTA covers baseball.
This isn't
So,
RTA. This is
yeah. So sometimes because they'll have a day game and they have to cut out early because they have obligations for pregame and stuff like that.
I know. Who would want to cut out of this? Right?
I thought about running when I went to the bathroom.
I wouldn't. I'd want to be front and center all day long, just gazing into my eyes.
Yes.
Right? Just staring at me.
Apparently only 3,290 people agree with you.
Well, it is what it is. Disappointing, but I'll get by.
Will you?
More than you will, apparently, obsesso. Obsesso. So how about this woman? How about this woman at Harvard? How about another black woman plagiarizing her crap?
How about another Harvard person?
Making stuff up, you know, and yet we're supposed to be able to lead by example with our children. No wonder they're freaking scrambled all over the place. You know? And that this is an education. How about when it's your surgeon? How about it's when the people are building your house and they're putting in the gas line? Do you want somebody who's been skipped ahead because they check a box? Or do you want somebody who actually is really good at what they do and care about what they do? Like, that's what I want.
I think it's ridiculous that these people don't even know how to cliff note stuff. Like, paraphrase then, you know, like sort of, kind of rip somebody off. Don't just blatantly do it.
It is a brazen disregard for intellectual integrity. And then they want tenure and they want all these protections. Well, actually, you just suck. You just suck.
Wow.
So. Right? I was very fussy this morning, I admit. I've cooled down since then. But seeing Jason Galanis's video about getting sexually assaulted in prison, which you know what that means.
I knew what he was going to say, and I was just like, I don't even need to hear it.
So you let me hear it and me get all upset about it. Got it.
Better you than me, right?
This is Christine Blasey Ford. This is what's dangerous when you give people who are not deserving a platform and then you don't think critically about what they're alleging.
I wonder if she's a best-selling author.
She did have work done.
Really? I couldn't tell. Holy.
I'm going to get my eyes done one of these days, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to do it anyway.
Looking like an alligator to smooth. Her filter was on 1,000.
She's an alligator? What does that even mean?
She's scaly and veiny.
What? She wasn't scaly and veiny.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Spike. Mm-hmm. Five sons, that the whole Me Too movement struck me as dangerous from the beginning. The idea that we should just all jump on and believe someone because of their private parts, because as a woman, you should be able to say whatever you want to say and be believed. Well, I know a lot of dirtbag women. In fact, I know more dirtbag women than I know men. And I know a lot of men. See, when that critical place where ego and insecurity meet is where a lot of dirtbaggery begins. I don't understand the need for the spotlight. I'm in a spotlight, and I will tell you, I'm not always comfortable with it. I don't crave it. It doesn't juice me up. But I believe that we have important things to talk about. And I enjoy talking to you on this program. But there are some people who are desperate for the headline, desperate for the light, desperate for the notoriety, desperate for the news. And I believe Christine Blasey Ford was used by the Democratic Party many years ago in an effort to derail Donald Trump's pick of Brett Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court. And anybody who is being honest, who saw her performance, knows something's wrong with the lady. Something is wrong with her. And I have great compassion for people who need help. But to go on live television in front of the world, in front of your elected representatives, and to share a story without corroboration, without evidence, without proof, is as obnoxious as listening to that woman, Chantel Brown, lie for 4 minutes about Donald Trump. It is not okay for an insecure, egocentric woman to ruin the life of a man because of a movement stupidly called Me Too. Because if Christine Blasey Ford, with no evidence at all, can say that Brett Kavanaugh sexually abused her in some capacity, raped her even in high school, what's to stop anybody from saying anything about anyone else? And then what's the message to the actual survivors of real abuse? Again, if everything is racist, then nothing is. If anyone can claim Me Too and demand to be listened to, it waters it down. And it's dangerous. So I find it intriguing that this Christine Blasey Ford is on the book tour circuit. And she's drumming up the Me Too movement again, hoping that you're going to feel bad for her and you're going to buy her book. She was on The View. She bounced over to CBS. And the media have fallen over themselves to give Christine Blasey Ford even more time to smear Brett Kavanaugh. This is an article from The Federalist. I'm really enjoying The Federalist. It's gross when you go forward 6 years from that congressional testimony. The press once again treating Christine Blasey Ford with this little journalistic skepticism, allowing her to insist that Kavanaugh is guilty of teenage sexual assault while promoting her splashy new memoir. I mean, CBS Sunday Morning, their coverage of this was literally walking through the park with Christine Blasey Ford, and that's how they handled their treatment, their scrutiny, their journalistic integrity of this story. This is so wildly concerning to me, it's not even funny. Because I want to go out to every woman out there and say, stop it. Knock it off. Because what you're doing is so dangerous. To the extent that anybody in the media that I've been watching has pushed Christine Blasey Ford on any of her allegations is preposterous. And yet again, here we have Brett Kavanaugh being dragged through the mud. Ford's own story, in many ways, is an exception to Me Too's rule. She was listened to. She was, to a lesser extent, heard. She came forward as a scientist. On The View, hosts told her the book was fantastic and said, thank you for what you did, speaking truth to power. Why do women allow themselves to be used in the same way that the Black community has allowed itself to be used by the Democrats? When are you going to stop allowing yourself to being a pawn? This Chantel Brown, she should be embarrassed. The DNC put a script in her hand, and I guarantee you she went home and she practiced. She timed it just to make sure she could nail it in the right cadence at the right amount of time so she didn't run out, so she could make her 4-minute grandstand slamming Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump isn't the one who was being called to testify. Tony Bobulinski and Hunter Biden were. Christine Blasey Ford has issues, whether she needs a therapist or what have you. But think about the voices that the left elevates. They elevate people like Claudine Gay, the Black female plagiarist former president who gets to keep her salary and all of the other perks, save the title. There's no real punishment there. Who else does the left celebrate? The people like Don Lemon, who check multiple boxes for the DEI woke crowd of suck. Gay and Black? If only he could be a lesbian, like what's her face? KJP, and be an immigrant. He'd knock it out of the park. This is America's Got Talent, because it's not talent anymore. It's who's got the greatest sob story. Who comes from the hardest background. It's not good enough anymore to just have God-given talent. Talent that you want to share. Talent that you work on to hone. That you use as something that's significant about yourself, that you share with everybody else. You've got to have a story. You got to check the boxes. You got to strike the nerve. It's not well enough that you can sing a cappella like an angel. If you didn't fall out of an airplane into a vat of burning oil and survive burns all over your body while your family was massacred, you're not going to win. That's not what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about the sob story. It's not about the victim complex. It's not about the hero savior complex. It's about making America great again. And it ought not be complicated, because making America great again involves work. It involves honesty. It involves logic. It involves education. It involves entrepreneurial spirit. It involves believing in exceptionalism. And what we have, and what we've suffered through for more than 3 years now, is everything anti-extraordinary. And I just thought I would read you, though she's put out a book about her surviving Brett Kavanaugh with crap evidence, I thought it would be wise for me to quote Molly Hemingway, who writes for The Federalist, that there is no evidence Ford and Kavanaugh ever met. That the people that Christine Blasey Ford used as her eyewitness corroboration had no confidence in her story. That friends had pressured this guy Leland Kaiser, who she hoped would come forward as a character witness, pressured her to change her story. An alleged witness strongly disputed the claims Ford's own father supported Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation. Ford doesn't know the location. She didn't know how she got there. She didn't know how she got home. She didn't even know the date, or even what time of the week, or even the season. Ford somehow remembers that she had precisely one beer, but not other details. And forget that Brett Kavanaugh's contemporaneous calendars support his claim that he was nowhere near that. Forget that Ford changed the date of the incident by years from her initial stories, kind of like Cassidy Hutchinson, changing her eyewitness testimony before the January 6th committee, that Donald Trump lunged for the steering wheel. Forget that Ford's first mention of Brett Kavanaugh's name is 2012, after he became a national figure. And that false claims were made about Ford's inability to fly, that Ford scrubbed her social media, said she wanted to stay confidential, but the first call was to the Washington Post, and that Ford's own attorney admitted a motive of desiring an asterisk by Kavanaugh's name, and that she's benefited politically, financially, and socially. And that nothing in Brett Kavanaugh's past even remotely lined up to Christine Blasey Ford's claim for 37 years. You're supposed to put all that aside and deny all of that, and me too believe Christine Blasey Ford. This is the world in which my 5 sons are growing up. Would you ever dare go near a liberal woman? Not a chance. Not worth it. Not in a million years. You know, the left is playing fire. They're playing with fire. A generation of voters is watching. Generation Z, unable, incapable to afford the American dream. Is that why the United States has dropped off of a list? I'm going to tell you which one and why this is meaningful if the Democrats are paying attention, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
A blistering personal memoir, thoughtful exploration of what it feels like to become a main character in a major American reckoning. Washington Post. Unusual and valuable. Offers a model of resilience. The Atlantic. Those are the only two.
Who wrote the foreword? Nancy Pelosi? Jasmine Crockett?
It's 308 pages long. What font did they use? 27? Because what's she going to say?
Well, it's got to be a lot of emotion.
Oh, here we go.
See, if you don't have facts, you have to have the feelings. So you've got to gin that out. That's a lot of flowery language.
On September 27, 2018, Ford testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee, which was considering nomination of Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court. She describes an alleged sexual assault by the Supreme Court nominee that took place in a high school party in the 80s. Her words and courage on that day provided some of the most credible and unforgettable testimony our country has ever witnessed.
Isn't it so odd, too,
It's
that
so
she got the
stupid.
Ronna McDaniel makeover?
Yeah. Oh,
Right? It's weird. I don't get it.
it's so different.
I don't get it.
She fits in the category of one of the 7 John Fettermans.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
there are a lot of actors who
if-
play John Fetterman.
Yeah, if you were to put them side by side and said, "We keeping you up?"
No, I had an exhaustive yawn.
And said,
Are you kidding? I've been using my bioptimite.
"You, these 2 women, are they related?" You might not even say they're related. It looks like someone took an iron to her face.
Can you
and
imagine?
neck.
Brett Kavanaugh has a bit of the vibe that Donald Trump has. To be accused of and found guilty of in the minds of small-minded people of something that you did not do, that you demonstrably were not found to have done. To not let that get in the way of the smears and the rhetoric and the garbage on the left. It's so gross. And you see how they manage that in their questioning, lack thereof, of Tony Bobulinski. It's all about grandstanding.
Yeah, he's not credible. But she is. No facts. No data. Much like scientists with COVID. No facts. No data. But God forbid you say something that they disagree with and you get banned on YouTube. And just by association, other people don't get the chance to even partake in YouTube because they know you.
Almost seems like that's
It's almost like getting fired from a job because of someone else. Just saying.
You know, this is not a huge surprise to me, but it's one of those residual things that comes with living in a government of suck, an abusive government in which your president can be a lying traitor, a demented lying traitor. That's not harsh. That's just telling you the truth. Is it any wonder CBSNews.com headline, U.S. drops from top 20 happiest countries list in 2024 World Happiness Report? You know, I hope that each of you, the way I do, and it's not perfect, home life is not perfect, but I hope you find that joy at home. I hope it is what sustains you. I hope if you've been blessed with the gift of children and grandchildren, that when you look in their faces, you see the possibility that the sinking ship can be fixed, that America can be saved. But right now, this Democrat Party is really losing Generation Z. When you can't afford what your parents and your grandparents, when you are the generation where that time-honored tradition of just hoping to provide for your children a little bit better than you had it. We're raising a generation of kids right now, 18 to 24, who cannot say that, will not be able to do that at this path. United States no longer among the 20 happiest countries in the 20 happiest countries in the world, according to new data from Gallup and its partners. In the newly released 2024 World Happiness Report, the U.S. dropped out of the top 20 on the list for the first time in the report's 12-year history. I mean, it's not like you're surprised. The U.S. now ranks at number 23 compared to 15 last year. The researchers say this is driven in part by a decline in how Americans under 30 feel about their lives. In the U.S., happiness or subjective well-being has decreased in all age groups, but especially for young adults, Gallup Managing Director Ilana Ron-Levy told CBS News in an emailed statement, adding that social connections are one key factor contributing to this generational disparity in happiness. The World Happiness Report and the Gallup Meta social connectedness data show peak loneliness for younger Americans. It's widely recognized that social support and feelings of loneliness are influential factors in determining overall happiness, and that these dynamics offer or differ across various age groups. The quality of interpersonal relationships may impact the well-being of younger and older individuals in distinct ways. I can tell you, one of my 3 adult sons, my oldest son, Michael, is in the next several months planning on leaving. He's going to move. He's going to leave Pennsylvania. It's not the same place it used to be. Our neighborhood is not the safe and inviting and welcoming place it used to be. It has changed. Our cars have been vandalized. Our political signs backing the blue and backing Donald Trump have been vandalized. Our Christmas lights have been cut. And good luck trying to find a young woman out there who's not one of these Me Too wacko enthusiasts. Look, there is a place for victims to be secure and safe and to share their stories and to be heard and to be believed. But to wave a magic wand, demand that we all do this or we all do that, it's not working. My son realizes that for him to be able to afford doing what he needs to do, living on his own, is he going to be able to do that without my help? Because if that's the case, and that's what a lot of his friends are reporting to him, that no matter the 2 jobs that they're working, they can't make ends meet. We are watching a generation, the first one in my lifetime, for whom the American dream is out of reach. As a parent, I feel that that is a failure, but it is a direct result of liberal policy, of feelings over facts, of box checking over ability and meritocracy, of excusing behaviors that are dangerous and wrong that we all know are. Don't ever take responsibility. That is what you see. Because they never do. There's a reason that Jason Golanis is in prison, where he has been raped, he says, by a prison guard, where he gasped on his video out of shame for not being able to fend off the attack. That is something that man will wake up to and go to bed with every day for the rest of his life. And he wasn't the ringleader of the Biden crime family syndicate. Hunter Biden was, who roams freely to openly and smugly, publicly defy congressional requests to appear. So I beg your pardon if I don't believe in liberty and justice for all. It should be that way. It's not what it is. And it isn't one nation, indivisible either. Cold, hard times for us, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need a happiness survey to tell you that. Thank you for being part of the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Come on back tomorrow. Can't wait to see you. Peace.